It is draft day or draft day. Oof. Mine's in a whirl. It's been a crazy trade deadline. I am on the road. Justin will be joining us soon. Let's talk about the deals that have been made and not made, who is available, and what else could occur on this live stream edition of Locked On Guardians. Nope, that's not the right one.
You
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special Locked On Trade Deadline edition of Locked On Guardians. We have had you covered all day today. I saw, people in the comments were already filling up before Justin and I could even get in here. So, jump in, time to talk, have some fun. I saw someone asking, it's a stream, it's not an episode. So, but I should still say, welcome to Locked On Guardians, your only Cleveland Guardians daily podcast, where we have you covered from the majors to the minors, the draft, and everything in between. Over there is Justin, the man with the inside knowledge. And over here, I am Jeff, who has been here since Locked On expanded into baseball, 8 years ago. So, we want to thank you for joining us. It has been an interesting deadline for sure. We'll talk Yoho, we'll talk Adele, we will talk about, who's left and what is going on. I noticed one comment someone was saying, who's left amongst the lefties? I'll just go ahead and throw this out there. It's Brendan Bernardino. That's it. Colorado has not made a trade yet. All of the craziness that is out there. All the trades happening all the time. Colorado hasn't made a trade. And last I was checking, one of the interesting things is I'm sure it is changed now because the Brewers trade has happened since then, as had the Adley Rushman trade. But for a long time there, Cozart was trending as the 11th best prospect traded this deadline, which I thought was kind of interesting to see. And I guess, do you want to start with the Joe Adele discussion? Do you want to start with, we could talk with how we're seeing the Patrick Bailey runoff. We could talk about what's left on the market. Yeah, someone's right. They did trade Bretton Doyle. So I'm sorry. They did make one trade, but they haven't traded any of the relievers that everyone thought they'd be moving. And big thank you to Feeling Generous for the super chat. Thanks for going live, guys. Yeah, I agree. I would like to see more. I don't know if they're going to do more. It feels like they've been quiet, but they're always quiet, right? Like this team goes, this team, neither of us heard anything connecting them to Adele. I would say the one person I don't expect them to get is Alec Burleson or Taylor Ward.
No, the Alec Burleson stuff that's been out there has been all from reporters who have just been making noise. Like they've just been putting out chatter. Like, who was it? John Morosi had said, "Oh, well, teams are calling on Alec Burleson, and they could have conversations about that." Well, great, that could happen, but that doesn't mean anything. Like John Morosi, I'm sorry, is not a legitimate source anymore. He just puts stuff out there and discuss it. So I saw someone gave me something about there's somebody else. Someone mentioned, I forget who had said it. It was like, oh, Kyle Stowers or something else. And I was like, again, haven't heard that from a legitimate source. And someone else.
It was Ken Rosenthal was connecting the dots of how he would make sense. It was not actually that he was out there.
No, it wasn't that. It was somebody else this morning. I go back to my tweets.
Yesterday it was from the Ken Rosenthal, Will Salmons piece, because we talked about that before. I'm kind of surprised someone brought up. I'm surprised we haven't seen anything about his call, especially because the Dodgers have now added multiple pieces.
Oh, it was Jacob Latz. Sorry, it was Jacob Latz. And it was just John Morosi saying, oh, the Rangers, could talk about him. And I'm like, yes, they could talk about him, but they're not going to. Like
same thing with Wyatt Langford, right?
Not happening. Again, if it doesn't come from Passan, Rosenthal, or if locally Zach Meisel, pretty much, like I'm not
Will really Salmon too. I would think Will Salmon's in that crew now. That's I would say locally it's Zach, and then you want Passan, Rosenthal, or Salmon.
Yeah.
And Mark Feinstein doesn't typically get burned, but he's just not the first.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the whole Reed Detmers thing today was a mess. But God, I think the Brewers overpaid for Dustin May.
They did.
Joe Romero.
That's what you do. You overpay for Dustin May. Last year, remember the Dodgers traded Dustin May for James Tibbs.
You overpay when it's in division, but my God, like if you're going to overpay for somebody, overpay for someone much better than that. Like,
but I mean, like I said, you got to overpay because Dustin May apparently makes teams go crazy.
Dustin May is having a good season. Like he's fine. Jojo Romero is a good fit would have been a good fit for anybody. So that just seemed like a lot. So Helio Ramos is going to the Yankees. That's Jeff Passan just tweeted that. So that one's going. Okay. And again, I know you mentioned Ramos. Once the Guardians got Joe Adell, they weren't going to get someone like Helio Ramos. They got the platoon bat. And I hope to God, Jeff, the plan is Castillo's the one for Arthur putting out there. And also glad to see Arthur back in our chats too. Glad you're doing better, Arthur. Joe Adell better come in here and be a platoon bat. If they play him every day, that's a disaster.
I'm going to be curious to see. This is the thing I'll say. Like Joe Adell is kind of a weird way. Like, listen, I'm on record. He's a player that I'm very conflicted on. But in a lot of ways, he's a perfect fit. I just did a 15-minute video. If you want to go check it out to anyone, he's a perfect fit because this year and for his whole career, he's hit well with runners in scoring position. This year, he would have the highest WRC plus of anyone on this team. He'd be a few points higher than Bazana, who's currently one. So he does that, which his team has struggled with. 2, he hits the ball hard. Team needs that. 3, he crushes lefties. Team needs that. But as facing right-handed pitching this year, he would be the worst hitter on this team by a significant distance. He does not hit righties. Now, the 2 caveats, again, he's probably going to play every day. Let's also be honest about that. But I think the 2 caveats here are 1, it's probably noise, but he is hitting league average on the road and terrible at home, which then also goes to the second caveat, which is I'm not shocked if anyone gets better when they leave the dumpster fire that is Los Angeles Angels. Like, there's always something to be said for leaving high dysfunction for low. But I think very bottom line for everyone who's super excited, I think you can compare this so readily to Lane Thomas, where Lane Thomas net cost a B prospect. I didn't have him as a top 10 with Alex Clemmy. Most people did. And then 2 Cs. This was this is more like a B minus and by himself, like with Cozart. So they paid less than half of what they paid for Lane Thomas in the same situation. And I think that speaks volumes in its way. But I think it's a great trade because they didn't give up much and he does things they need. Like what's not
I just don't want Adell playing every day. I'm sorry. I just don't. Like if he earns it, that's fine. I just don't want him play again. Then again, like who are you going to play? Like I guess it's Quan, DeLauder.
Halpin.
Are you putting Quan in center field?
No, I think I think
Quan did play some center field this weekend, by the way.
He did, and it could be some Adell. Adell is Adell has great foot speed and he jumps well. That's why he's great at doing robbery. But he has bad instincts and he makes bad breaks and he does not cover ground well.
Let's save more of that for the actual podcast. But I was looking more into Adell's defense, and there's like just nothing he does well. Like I was looking at, maybe he does that. Maybe this can be an adjustment. I was having a hard time finding anything where you're like, they just need this adjustment.
I see
by the way,
go ahead.
Juan Brito didn't get released. He got designated for assignment. I don't even know if anyone's going to claim him. So he probably just clears waivers and goes to AAA. Like I don't think there's anything happening there. Not a big deal.
Can I say I think it's kind of crazy that the Mets traded Luke Weaver to the Pirates, picked up a bunch of salary, and then got like a middling prospect. That's another one of the weird ones today.
I don't mind Sammy Stafura. I think it's fine.
But if you're eating money on a guy who's like
get more,
like Sammy Stafura is at best he's infield version of Petey Halpin. Like he's just not.
Yeah.
He's not there. My sound is. Oh, you know why? Okay.
Oh,
thank you. My microphone is not working. Give me a second here. I just realized that.
Oh, see, this is like what happened to me last night. You sound the same. There you go. Now you're better. Yeah. Now you're
let me know.
Now you're good. You sound better. I didn't think you sounded bad, but now you sound much better. So clearly, someone heard
better. I now have
heard something.
Yeah,
so we got 45 minutes.
Asking about Alex Call. I'm surprised the Dodgers haven't traded him. I just liked him because he's a solid platoon bat, can kind of do some of the things Adell does, but with good defense. Not the premium, not the power there.
The Cubs or the Mets traded Clay Holmes and Tyrone
curious
Taylor
to see what Ramos cost in the end. I also, maybe save for the show, maybe not, but the dumpster diving approach for the White Sox has been a little bit humorous for me.
Can you hear me, Jeff?
As like Joey Bart was someone who was cut a few weeks ago.
I don't think Jeff can hear me.
Oh, now I don't have any sound for you, Justin.
Yeah, I know you because you've just been talking and I've been trying to get something in. Jefferson Rojas going from the Cubs to the Mets for Clay Holmes.
Who can
Tyrone Taylor
hear right now, myself or Justin? Because I'm not hearing Justin at all.
I hear you. And I hear myself.
I can hear you, but I can't. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I'm going to mess with things.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so Tyrone Taylor and Clay Holmes are going to the Cubs for Jefferson Rojas. A pretty good trade for them. Rojas is fine.
Okay, fixed it.
Tyrone Taylor wasn't going to be a guy that was going to come here again after they got Joe Adell. I just really wonder what bat would be left for the Guardians to acquire. I don't think another outfielder makes sense. But I also feel like the Brewers are getting Antonio Senzatella, so there goes another reliever off the board. Okay. Honestly, I hate to throw cold water here, but I think the Guardians are done. I don't think they're doing anything else at this point. I think this is it. I think Craig Yoho and Joe Adell is it. And to me, that's disappointing. I think that's. I'll have to stew on it a little before we do our actual podcast, but like in a vacuum, it's fine. I have to look and see what else happens, because that's the other thing too. When you compare the trade deadline, to me, is like you can talk about the moves your team made in a vacuum, like how good they were or how good they weren't. But then you got to compare it to who else got moved, because you can only really judge it by who else got traded, right? So if I'm going based off of who else got traded, it's fine because it wasn't a really hot deadline. Kyle Stowers is not going anywhere again. Stop listening to people who are just putting crap out there saying, oh, well, they're listening and this could happen and maybe this could happen. They're not putting out real rumors. They're just saying, oh, well, this could happen. This could make sense. They're talking. Like the Marlins are listening on everybody. Yes. So they could be listening on anybody, but that doesn't mean anything's actually going to happen. So that's one of those rumors, that the Wyatt Langford, the Jacob Latz thing, that this Kyle Stowers thing, like those aren't real rumors. Those are just people putting stuff out there, putting engagement out there. Oh, I heard they're listening. Yeah, well, the Guardians listen on Cade Smith probably, and they're not doing it. So, yeah, I think the Guardians are done. I think this is it. I don't think you're going to see another move.
I think they're listening on everyone. Like I think they're going to listen. But
that's weird. Wow. So the Red Sox must be maybe in the market for a shortstop must be getting a shortstop because they're trading Marcelo Meyer for Eric Miller from the Giants.
Meyer's terrible. So I'm not shocked by that. Like Meyer has not worked out. So.
Well, yeah, that's why they need a shortstop. But like, if they're making that move, then I'm guessing they feel like they might have a shortstop move lined up.
Or they're just going to rotate with what they have in some version.
God. Brewers getting Antonio Senzatella makes a ton of sense. I would have taken him, although I don't know. Like the thing about Craig Yoho too that we didn't even talk about is
Meyer wasn't even on their 25-man roster right now. Monasterio's been their shortstop. So
that's right.
In AAA. So he's
So God, Marcelo Meyer fell so badly. He was a first-round pick, and then he's being sold for I don't know. Who cares? He stinks.
Yeah, he's technically hurt. Stress reaction is forearm. He's hurt, but he
stinks. Yeah, he stinks. Man, the Red Sox gave up a lot for Rutschman too for a year and a half of that guy. Anthony Eisen is good, and I think Kyson Witherspoon's interesting. So, I don't see anything else. I don't see anything else happening here for Cleveland.
I just think a lot of people are making a big move on Adley Rutschman. Don't get me wrong, that's a solid trade, but that doesn't. I still think Skubal got more. Eisen's a fast rising prospect, but Witherspoon's the opposite. And anyone who's Carlos Narvaez has had a terrible year. I think Baltimore did pretty well, but I don't think that is kind of the mind blower people are making. And then the White Sox, again, I'm just going to say Brenton Doyle has had declining data every year. He has a 57 WRC plus outside. He can't hit outside Colorado, and he couldn't hit inside Colorado. So they got a bunch of bench guys, and Castillo wouldn't even make the Guardians rotation. If he was here,
Yes,
he wouldn't beat out. So it's like the White Sox made some moves, but like they refused to trade anything of value, and they ended up with a bunch of backups. Like, the Dodgers, of course, are the Dodgers, and adding Bubic on top of everything else, like they continue to just be tough as heck. The Brewers are really going for it. They traded some of the biggest value guys. Like I said, I think Cleveland still needs to add a bat. I would still like to see a reliever. Bernardino is still sitting there, especially because I'm pretty sure he's a rental, right? Like Colorado would be foolish to not move him.
Yes. Yeah. Colorado should definitely move him. So Colorado's only traded Bretton Doyle. I was kind of, I know it was probably unlikely they were going to get another outfielder, but I was kind of disappointed to see Dalton Varsho go to Houston from Toronto.
Spencer Getty is a major league pitcher, though. They don't really have that type of guy.
Yeah, Slade and like maybe Slade Ciccone at best, if that's what the Blue Jays are looking for. But I think Eric Getty might have better stuff. So, I don't think Chicago got much better. Chicago, they got Bretton Doyle, Luis Castillo, and they did get a reliever.
They got Bart, the catcher, after all the talk.
No, they got a reliever yesterday, another reliever. They got another reliever who I thought was good. Or was it today? They got Huascar Brosabon today. Who's
that's right. This morning, he's solid.
Yeah, he's a versatile reliever. Yeah, I mean, the White Sox didn't do any more than the Guardians did. They got better on the margins. Like Doyle, they're playing. They're gonna play go for good defense. Like is Doyle gonna start? Because
he can't. I did see someone. I did have to laugh. I saw someone who I actually like quite a bit. Titans rule. I'm just gonna say this, like, then don't come in the chat if you think everything sky is falling, then this probably isn't the place for you. But I'm not gonna kick you out because you're fine. But hey, the thing with the White Sox, and I saw someone post this, is like, hey, we turned Tristan Peters into an all-star. We'll fix Doyle. Tristan Peters, I think, still has a 400 BABIP. We'll see. Like
he's not. The years. He's not.
I think he's I think he's a major league player, and I think he was a good find. But like, he's not.
I will say, I would have taken Eric Miller. He walks everybody.
He does.
He's as dangerous as Tim Herron and Eric Zabrowski in that department. But he's getting good results this year, and he misses a ton of bats.
Which is
they could have used him.
Ryan Zephyr, like 2 went to the Cubs. It's the same story, and I mean, he netted a decent piece with Moises Ballesteros too.
So who did I say the return for? Oh, Marcelo Meyer. I mean, it's a failed first-round pick, so I'm like,
I mean, Eric Miller was a guy who I kind of liked in Rule 5 drafts a few years ago. Like he was a guy on waivers. That's how San Francisco got him.
Oh, this is a good comparison. Tristan Peters is 2024 David Fry. With defense, obviously, that's a good comparison.
Or Nolan Jones.
Or Nolan Jones. I love that Nolan Jones was part of that trade. He went from Cleveland to Colorado, back to Cleveland to Chicago to Seattle, and it's just, again, he's a great dude, but it's never going to happen for him.
I had to laugh though because it's something we missed on the show, and I brought it up in my 15-minute episode. But of course, the Seattle Mariners add another Ohio prospect when they do a trade by getting Boston Smith, the right state catcher. They made the Castillo deal with Nolan Jones. Of course, they're going to add more Ohio kids because no one loves Ohio college and prep players like the Seattle Mariners front office.
That was that is kind of weird.
But this has been like looking through it's hard, like I'm very curious to see like just how the Cubs make this all work because it's like so they've added Clay Holmes and Taylor, and then they added Zephyr Jean and they added Braxton Garrett, who can at least go down to AAA. He has options, but like, some of these teams are adding like 4 or 5 guys. I'm like, how is this going to work out? Like, how are they going to, shift all their spots? And I wonder too, if that's part of Cleveland's, wow. Tyler Wells is pretty expensive. That is shocking.
Yeah. To get Michael Forret, who they traded to Tampa Bay in the Shane Boz deal, by the way. Fortet's a good reliever or a good prospect.
Top 100 prospect. I mean, Tyler Wells he doesn't have that much control left. I mean, he's that's pretty so starting pitching is being really expensive. He's a 1.5 year guy.
Jeff, speaking of Ohio kids, left-handed pitcher Mark Manfredi, who's from Mayfield, Ohio, he's going to the Rockies along with Juan Martinez for Antonio Senzatella.
Okay, pretty cheap on that one.
Yeah.
Not surprising. I mean, yeah. Okay. So someone brought up like Jake Peavy said that on MLB Network, the Quan might be available.
I don't.
Again, he might be available.
Does Jake Peavy have sources? Like, let's be honest here. Jake Peavy is an analyst. Yes, he used to play the game. He's also kind of a whatever, but I don't think he has. I don't know if he has source, especially not in Cleveland.
No, it's the same thing as Langford and and everything else.
Yeah, he might be hearing that. Oh, so and so team called on him. So a team might have called the Guardians and said, "Hey, what would you like for Quan? Is Quan available?" And they might be listening to the offer because they always do that. But I'm not buying Jake Peavy as someone who has sources. And if I'm wrong, that's fine. But whatever. But I just don't buy it. Like, I don't think Jake Peavy. Doesn't have. Jake Peavy definitely doesn't have a line into Cleveland. So if he's getting that, he's getting it from somebody else, and we know that's pretty much garbage if it doesn't come from Cleveland because Cleveland doesn't let things leak.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably someone's trying to call him lowball Cleveland right now. Like that's
so. I think we'll cover this later. Ray Bostaff said the only give up Cozart real piece of deadline is a win. Yes, it's fine. I have no problem giving up Cozart. I was just hoping that if they used a prospect and it was someone like Cozart, they would get someone better than Joe Adell. Like I'm not saying they would be able to get somebody
solid value.
It is. I'm just saying, like, you wouldn't have got somebody straight up 1-for-1 like that. But I'm saying I would have rather have used him in like a bigger deal to get someone better than Adell. That's my only gripe. Is like, it's
he's
fine.
Never hit in the minors. He's going to be a major league backup catcher. They traded a backup catcher who was just once they traded Patrick Bailey, there was no value to Cozart.
For a guy who should be a platoon outfielder.
Yeah.
Like I said, we'll cover it on the full show, but.
Adell Adell, I hate to break to you, he's going to play every day. They didn't trade for him to have him be a platoon guy. And I know he hasn't done well, but they're just going to load him up at the bottom of the lineup and try to make it.
I think that's so stupid. It's going to be a mess if he does.
Well, maybe they feel like there's things again they can fix, but I don't feel like they traded for him just to get a platoon player.
What was the last time the Guardians brought in a hitter that was flawed and fixed them? Remind me.
Josh Naylor.
Sure. He was a lot younger and didn't have as many plate appearances at that point. Like Joe Adell's got 2,000 career plate appearances. He is who he is at this point. I'm sorry.
He is, but he also came up with the Angels, which means that he had terrible.
Which is fine, but I also don't believe this is the system to fix.
I think this is where you and I are going to disagree because I think it's a really good value because Cozart he was 22nd on my list. Like, I'm not
talking about the trade itself. I'm just saying I don't believe Adell is more than who he is right now. That's why I'm saying I don't think he should play every day, but
he fits all of the things.
If he comes in and they play him, God, again, where's Quan? I mean, I'm thinking if you're going to play DeLauder, unless you're going to DH DeLauder, you have Quan, DeLauder, and Adell, and then. Okay, guys, stop at. I'm sorry. I know maybe people have.
Alec Burleson isn't happening. We can just move on.
Alec Burleson is not happening. It's the people who are putting those rumors out are junk. Yeah. So I just think if he comes in and plays every day, you're not going to get more out of him than you already have. And,
I mean, I don't know if we fixed Bailey. I'll say I think a big part of Bailey's improvement since he got here was
regression, or not regression, but coming back up to the mean.
Yeah, like he was playing in a terrible park for hitters.
Yeah, great. Joe Adell hit 37 home runs a year ago. That's great. And you know what he's doing this year? He has a worse OPS than Kyle Manzardo. Gabriel Arias has a better OPS than he does. So great. Good.
Again, I think that's only it's a partial picture, right? Like Adell is incredibly valuable, bottom line, because he hits lefties. He hits the ball hard, and he hits with runners in scoring position. All three things this team lacks. So he fits three things the team lacks. So I think it's, no matter what, it's a good addition. But the problem is you can't have him continue to perform well. A player like him isn't going to perform well if he's only playing, Fever Dog corrected me. It's about 70% of the time you face righties, 30% lefties. He's got to play at least enough against righties to be close to playing 60% of the time. So he's going to play at least half the games versus righties. Maybe you skip the harder righties. But if you try to throw this guy who's been an everyday player his whole life into a 30% role, then you get nothing. So he's got to be at least a 50 to 60 to 70% role, because as we've seen, most players can't adapt to that. Most guys can't adapt to that very loose use platoon role. So he's going to have to be a guy who's playing probably close to about 80% of the time, all lefties for sure, because he's 23rd best in baseball. WRC is 1 point behind Jose. And then, like I said, I think he should be honestly the DH. And you can have a role where he is DHing a lot. And because I'll say this too, like Rhys Hoskins has really started to fall off. Like when they lost that overtime, the extra inning game, that was just the gut wrencher a few weeks ago. The one was like 2-1. I can't remember what it ended up being. At that point in time, Rhys Hoskins had a 125 WRC plus against right-handers. Now he's down to 110, and that was like a week and a half ago. So for me personally, I would love to see another trade, but I also love to see, this essentially kind of, he pulls into that Hoskins role for the most part.
Can you DH him? I guess you can DH.
Yeah, that's what I think you should do with him.
Yeah. I wouldn't even say Adele is Puig, because I think Puig had much more good production as a full-time player. Tyrone Taylor's gone. Scar Black, he's gone. He's going to the Cubs.
Traded to the Cubs.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to trade for another outfielder at this point. Like, I don't see how it fits, because now you have Adele and you have Martinez and Kwan and DeLauder, and I think they're going to keep Petey Halpin up here at this point. So I don't see them changing that, and maybe they'll use Perkins at some point. Also love this earlier too. Someone was getting mad at us saying, "Yeah, but you tried to sell us on Blake Perkins as an upgrade." I'm like, no, we didn't. We just said he is a bench. He's a bench piece. Like nobody was sitting here saying that Blake Perkins is a guy that's gonna be a.
I mean, I guess I did a little bit, just saying that he is like better than Fry.
He's not a difference maker. No,
he's an upgrade on Fry. He can run well, play defense, and hit lefties.
Yeah, what's wild here, by the way. And no, I would keep Martinez up instead of Fry. The guy I think should lose a spot as of right now, based on what they have, is that they should move David Fry to AAA. There's no spot for him. He's not catching anymore.
Robberies don't matter. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Yeah, he's robbed a bunch, but
you know why? Because he is crazy athletic.
Crazy athletic, but he takes bad breaks. Watch him in depth. Watch him. He takes bad breaks. Yeah. He does not cover for a guy with his speed. He doesn't get to the balls he should. Every metric, like watching him play.
His reads are terrible. His jumps are terrible. He allows a lot of base runners to advance, by the way, because he takes bad route. Route running is probably the only thing he does decently, but he does not use his speed well in the outfield. I
don't even think his route running is that great. It's not always the most direct route. Like that's the thing. Like and I know more. Well, if you look at baseball for a while too, so it's like I mean you've played with guys who like have all the tools but just can't make the good routes. Don't get to the ball. There's always those players who it's like Nolan Jones should have always been better as a defender with his tools, but he never was because he didn't take good routes.
Yes. I mean, kind of the same with John Kensley Noel. John Kensley Noel, I will say, was a better right fielder than I ever thought he would be. But again, he was an athletic player. He just was not getting it any good. Sounds like big league Jay Slavolette. No, Jay Slavolette could play in the big leagues right now defensively. He is good enough to play in the big leagues defensively. He just can't hit the ball. And Joe Adell, I hate to tell you, is better than Jay Slavolette, and that's saying a lot because I'm not a huge Joe Adell fan. So
and and Joe Adell had like last year was the outlier. Like you can't really use the 1 year and expect anything because nothing else is. And he can't, as everyone expected, he came back.
You can't. That is the thing I will say. That this is the area we've talked about offense. This is the area to me that is different. Is because the Guardians and all the outfielders they have love JT McGuire. They believe so much in JT McGuire. And I know it didn't really work out with some guys there, like Cooper Ingle, whatever. That was limited basis. But I think you absolutely can teach reading the ball. I think you can teach better jumps. I think defense is the one thing you can actually coach up. You can't teach a guy to stop chasing every second ball. Like you couldn't teach John Kensley and Noel to stop swinging. And it's going to be the same with Joe Adell. Joe Adell is like the evolved version of John Kensley Noel. Like he's going to chase everything and he's going to hit the snot out of it when he makes contact. Like that's what this is going to be. This is the evolved
Gabby
version.
Arias. I mean, he's Gabby Arias.
Yeah. Except, he's gotten to his power a little bit more. But
yes,
he's going to change approach. He's going to change, but defense is the thing I think you could teach. Like again,
Did we just trade for him?
Griffin Foster to the Guardians. Who's Griffin Foster? Who's
no
that?
Foster Griffin, the Nationals pitcher, dude.
Oh, I was like, well, no. Ken Rosenthal tweeted Griffin Foster. I'm like, who's Griffin Foster? Okay, so Foster Griffin coming to Cleveland. That's going to be.
That's going to be costly, right? Or is he a free agent to be? I can't remember if there's team control.
He's a rental. He's a rental. Yeah, he's a
because
free
he
agent.
was a guy who came over from Japan or Korea last year, right?
Yes, he played in the MPB. So let's see what happens here. He's having a decent year. Like he's
having a
not
great
walking
year.
guys.
I mean,
yeah,
it's not
got
decent.
a 4.9
borderline.
FIP. This could be the move that pushes. That could be. That
he was
could
an
push.
all-star. He was an all-star this
well,
year.
okay, the Nationals didn't have a. Well, that's not true. They
had C.J. Abrams. They had Curtis Mead. They had a really good team. He was a really good pitcher.
Question: do you put Foster Griffin in the bullpen, or do you put Slade Ciccone in the bullpen?
Slade Ciccone is now in your bullpen. This is your 5th starter. You don't make this trade unless you go do this. I mean, this is a big addition. We're with you here. Like, I'm Foster Griffin. I'm going to go pull up a Savant, but he is what we talked about, right? Like he.
No extension. I'm surprised he doesn't walk guys though. Let's see what the
he doesn't walk anyone. He misses some bats. But
I'll be curious to see.
Like,
there's no return yet.
Like I said, I think he's got control. Like, unless the contract wrote it out.
No, it says he's a free agent at the end of 2027.
Yeah. So I guess it doesn't matter that he barely pitched in the big league. So it is a rental. So it's going to be a relatively interesting cost. But starting pitching has been going crazy on the market. Another ground ball guy, good chase rate. His fastball and his off speed has been incredibly good this year.
Either way, I like this trade. I'm going to say
we know someone who's going to be happy about this. But yeah,
the Nationals are getting 4 players back in the trade. Oh my God. This is going to be costly. Oh boy, this is going to be costly.
So who's on this one right now?
Spencer Nussbaum from The Athletic. This is going to be costly unless they're paying like.
Well, or I wonder if it could also, like, they've been trying to rebuild their pen, so it's like I kind of wonder. It's like, is this
Franco Alamon deal happens?
Franco Alamon, and like, is it someone like, yeah, I'm kind of curious. Like Alamon and other pieces. Okay, Jeff Bassan just tweeted something. Is it about this? I assume
it's about the trade, but he doesn't have the return yet. I'm trying to see if anybody can help with the return. I'm trying to see if anybody has anything. Ken Rosenthal just retweeted Spencer Nussbaum. God, 4 players.
I'm betting one of them's Alamon.
I'm betting one of them is Alamon as well. Jeff Hoffman also is leaving the Blue Jays clubhouse, so that's interesting. So I guess Jeff Hoffman's going to make the move. You and I talked about him a little bit. This is going to be costly.
Like I said, I wonder if it's costly or it's just a lot of, because he's a rental and he was an all-star, but I kind of wonder if this is a lot of secondary pieces.
Yes, I'm with you on that. Let's see. Jeff Passan
into the Twins is what someone just said.
That's fine. That's fine. He's got a year of control left. Hoffman does, but no.
Yeah.
Foster Griffin is a pure rental. He's a free agent at the end of the year because of the contract.
I wish he wasn't. Then he would be like a 4 pitcher expensive.
I know. Hopefully it's just pieces, parts, but
like I could see on Alamon, I could see like they've been working to rebuild their pen. Like I kind of wonder too, like, could Andrew Walters be in this? Could this be a way to clear some 40 men? You can still trade him. I mean, Marcel Mayer is hurt. You can trade guys who are hurt. But I could see them buying low on a guy like that, because if you look at the Luis Garcia deal, they essentially got 1 starter and 3 relievers. They've been kind of focused.
Well, I'm at least glad to say the Guardians weren't done. We thought we were going to be on here and that was going to be it. So,
and again, I just want to say it's like your team got better. Bottom line, they got better and they win every year. Like. Sometimes, I mean,
let's see what the return is.
Yeah, I can already tell, Justin, you're having some shakes on this. You are nervous about this one.
When I hear 4 players, I'm like, okay, this is going to be interesting.
Justin might have to take a walk around the block.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see.
You're having some Alex Cobb moments here. I can tell.
Oh yeah, well, we'll see what happens when it comes. Nobody has the return yet. I haven't had any text.
Of course not. It's the Guardians. It always takes a while.
Well, I know, but like everybody I've texted.
It's also interesting because Zach didn't break this one. That is very unusual.
He
hasn't tweeted anything since the Kozar one, so he hasn't even tweeted about this one. Normally Zach is the man when it comes to these moments.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. It's like now we're all just kind of here like, okay.
We're all just kind of waiting for the return. So Stuff Plus does like his slider.
Yeah.
Pitching. Interestingly enough, Pitching Bot doesn't like any of his stuff, and I thought we were saying Pitching Bot might be the guys that you look there, the stats you look at to see if that helps them with any acquisitions. But Pitching Bot doesn't think any of his stuff is very good, but Pitching Stuff Plus says slider is good, cutter's okay, curveball's good.
His fastball is really good this year.
I think Cooper Ingles a little bit too rich for this, but we'll see.
His split finger has been absolutely dynamite this year at points.
Okay.
It's got a ton of vertical drop on it, which we know makes a splitter really tough. Sweeper has a lot more vertical drop, as does the curve, than the average pitch. In terms of the not reliable pitch grading metrics on Savant, let me look at those just out of curiosity to see what is working this year and what isn't. This is fascinating. It really is. I'm very curious to see. I mean, his cutter is worth 10 runs this year. They're struggling to hit the cutter across baseball with him. It's got a lot of horizontal break compared to most cutters. That's where it's kind of a different pitch for him. But there's some decent grades on a lot of his pitches. The curveball is the only one that's like really kind of not grading great.
This is going to be interesting. Nobody has the return yet. Like I said, I have texted a couple people, and nobody has been able to respond to me. I'm guessing people I normally would text are knee deep in what they normally do. Yeah, this is wild. Yeah, I mean, Foster Griffin's having a good year. Again, all of his pitches are performing fairly well. Like the cutter gets some slug, but low batting average. Yeah, he's got the splitter. He barely throws, but the sinker is good for him. The changeup's been very good for him. The sweeper has not been that great, but his four seam doesn't get hit, which is wild because he doesn't throw that hard and he doesn't have much extension. So I'm very curious to see why that is.
Not great. It's his third worst graded pitch.
Well, I'm just looking at results. I'm looking at expected batting average. I'm looking at expected slugging, and the four seamer looks like it would supposed to get hit a little bit harder than it does, but it hasn't this year. So, like it's good. I think this. Yeah, I'm going to say it moves Slade's. It's too early. I know someone said 6-man rotation. Too early to do 6-man rotation. You don't want to.
Let's put Ciccone in the pen where like he's been doing better. His first. You don't even order.
You don't even need to move. Actually, someone pointed this out to me the other day. I'll have to look at it, but the Guardians have a lot of off days this month, so you don't have to worry about it this month. But I think they have a lot of off days next month too.
I don't think it's going to be Logan Allen. I mean, it could be Cooper Engel. I wouldn't be shocked if it's Engel because I think let's be real honest. Like one of those things that people.
Wow. The main piece for the Jeff Hoffman deal is Dason Hill, which that's
pretty good
for the Twins. The other guys I'm not sure on. It's John Klein and DeMurray Pena. I don't know those guys, but you and I both like Dason Hill. Yeah, I think Slade's going to go to the bullpen here, is what I would say, which is fine. I think he can work in a short stint.
I think, and what this sets them up with is an interesting decision for like playoffs and things like that. And you're getting a guy. I mean, I assume now he's like, so it's like if you go to a short rotation, like is he the guy you're going to? Is it, how does it work with his? I mean, I'm not saying he's your ace starter or anything. But he's also got such a high arm angle, too. I think that would give him a different look. I don't think anyone's up at 45 on this team amongst their starters. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to putting Griffin in the bullpen, but I don't think you acquire him. I don't think you pay this price for him to do that. And I also don't think that he's going to want to go to the bullpen because he's going to hit the free agent market again at the end of the year. So
that's not what I meant to put. He can't get the qualifying offer because if you're traded midseason,
he just got traded. Yeah. In terms of predictive too, Sierra, I know we don't always look at Sierra that much, but 381 Sierra, which has some future predictive value. So that suggests that he's having a decent
gonna make it I mean, we talked about this rotation is tough, and we've got Slade had that great month, but outside of that great month,
okay, you're not doing a 6-man rotation in August. They have every Monday. They have every Monday in August off anyway. They're not. They're in.
Slade is going to go in the bullpen, and I think they're going to try to see if they can maybe make him a weapon out of the pen.
Oh, this is a great trade! Wow, Will Dion, Josh Hartle, Kennedylkis Vargas, and Nick Mitchell. Wow, great trade. Okay,
is that really the cost?
Yes, that's the cost.
So how upset are you right now, Justin?
Not at all. I mean, I like Josh Hartle, but it's fine. Yeah,
that is not a painful trade. Who's got that, by the way?
Spencer Nussbaum from The Athletic, who's really good.
I just followed him. Somehow it hasn't popped. But I'm gonna go look him up. But yeah, I mean, like I'm the king of the Nick Mitchell bandwagon, but I also think he's a fourth outfielder at best. So yeah, I mean they traded a poo-poo platter.
I mean, these are pieces. Okay, so Will Dion, you guys know what he is. He is a swing man, up and down reliever. Josh Hartle, I think, is going to be a really nice MLB starter. I mean, ideally, his probably best outcome is Foster Griffin. Josh Hartle, ironically enough. The guy that nobody's really going to know about is Kennedy Vergas, who throws 99, and he's nasty as a reliever, but there are days when the home plate is like a foreign country to him. So Vergas has no control. Nick Mitchell's a fourth outfielder. He like speed, defense, gets on base. That's fine. Yeah, this is good. This is good. Yeah, I'm perfectly happy with this deal. The Guardians did great here. This is great.
Yeah, so it's like most people don't know about Verghese. It's like he's the lotto ticket. That's the guy they're betting on. Hartle has a good chance to be a 5. Mitchell is a backup outfielder, and Dion is, they needed to clear a 40-man spot and gives another lefty some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
He was probably in danger of losing his spot.
Yeah, Josh Hartle is probably the most likely big leaguer out of this group that they just gave up.
No, so I at the start of the year, I did have Mitchell in my top 30, but I moved him down as the year went on. He just did not perform up to what I had. The funny thing is they got both.
He's been
Mitchell
hot lately.
Yes, they got both Mitchell and Hartle. Mitchell and Hartle are the last 2 pieces from the Jimenez deal.
That's interesting.
No, I'm sorry, Kennedy's still there.
We have Michael. Let me tell you right now, Michael Kennedy is not making the big leagues. Michael, I know you're in our chat here. I see you. Tell me what happens if Michael Kennedy ever makes the majors, or what happens when Michael Kennedy pitches in general. I know he's on here. No, Mickey Moniak, please. This is a good trade. They gave up pieces parts. Like Hartle's going to be a nice low end starter. I liked him a lot. And again, Vergas might be a great reliever, but like I said, he needs a passport to visit the strike zone sometimes. Like, it's pretty bad. And then Nick Mitchell might be a fourth outfielder.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I had Mitchell he's that guy who I'm going to pull up my listing right now. Like, he's a guy who I had in the 30s. Like, he's a solid backup type. Like, I've always kind of dug him from was he a Ball State kid, I want to say? Like, I thought he was a fun draft pick by Toronto. I liked when they got him as a throw-in. Unfortunately, they should have just stopped there, getting Nick Mitchell and Spencer Horwitz. They did not. But, Mitchell was a guy. Yeah, I have Nick Mitchell. I hadn't updated today. So he would have been 34 entering after
Luis Ariz got traded already, guys. Stop.
Yeah.
Luis Ariz is gone. Alec Burleson is not happening.
Sorry, 2 guys were out of my top 30. Griffin is a rental. So because they cut Brito, they DFA'd him. We'll see if he passes through waivers. And then they traded Cozart. So technically, we'll see.
I don't think anyone's claiming.
I don't know. We'll see. There's really bad teams of baseball. They might want. This
is a good day to DFA somebody though, because everybody is crunching their rosters. So he might end up clearing just because that.
But he's kind of it's a dead man walking situation, because a guy like him isn't going to stick around after this year anyway. So he can.
Yeah, he's
So with those 2 out, Nick Mitchell technically would have been 32nd on my prospect list. So they get 32nd, and they get let's see, Hartle was he would have been Hartle would have been 24th. Yeah, so
I had Hartle 18th at midseason. I didn't have Nick Mitchell ranked at midseason, and I don't have Vergas ranked just because he's a very shaky reliever in terms of control. Wow, this is a big one. The Diamondbacks are getting Lars Newbar. I did not think he was going to get traded.
Ooh. Okay, see what that costs. It's been a crazy deadline. So I had Yeah, we just keep leaving poor Will Dion off. Seems like he's got a nice family. They're very excited when he got called up. We wish him nothing but the best.
Well, Dion's a great kid. He's gonna be like he'll be a nice up and down guy for a couple of years while he has options.
Yep. He's got value, and it's part of that work the Nationals are doing on building that pen. And Vergas does this now. I think so. Now they're gonna have to. Franco Alemán goes to the minors. I think that's clear because Slade moves in the bullpen likely, but we've got this wrong before. Slade in the bullpen. I still wouldn't be shocked if there's a minor deal to be had, because I would still be a little bit surprised with some of the things we've heard if they keep Franco Alemán.
Yeah, I can't believe they got Foster Griffin for this little, honestly. Yeah. Like, again, and that's no disrespect to anybody they traded today, but I didn't think I thought they would cost a lot more. And I heard 4 pieces. The Nationals took, again, a guy who's a big reliever with big arm, but again, doesn't know where the strike zone is half the time. And, like Hartle's probably a back of the rotation starter, and
Hartle and Mitchell are 2 guys that this year kind of disappointed me. Like, I gotta be honest, like they both were moving backwards for me a lot. Dion actually had a jump this year. He had the biggest improvement in this group. And then Vergas is just like, it's Nuke Lelouch. Was that the character in some Wild Thing Vaughn, however whatever character you want to use. Yeah, he's been up to AA Akron for like 1 inning, 2 innings. But it's
the best player the Guardians traded today is still Jacob
Kozar. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I still would like to see them get one more hitter, whoever that is.
Agreed. I would still like to see him add Bernardino at this point.
Yeah, I'd be curious. I'm really curious to see. I don't think Cantillo goes to the bullpen. I'm pretty sure it's going to be.
No, it's going to be.
Mike, by the way, who would know, says Vergas is his favorite player in the deal. Again, Vergas has a big arm. I didn't get a chance to see him in person this year, but I saw when I watched video the other day, because when Mike and I were talking about him getting promoted to Akron, I was like, I wonder how that happened, because I didn't really know that. I didn't see Vergas in person, but yeah, he throws upper 90s, and like I said, he might be a really nasty reliever in the future, but he's got to figure out where the strike zone is occasionally. Like he's was it Dalbert Siri? There was a bunch of guys back in the day that I was like, oh man, I just didn't know where the strike zone was. So the Guardians gave up, really nothing of consequence for them for this year or next year. Hartle wasn't going to be up next year. Mitchell's not going to be up next year or this year. And Dion has been up, but like Dion was in AAA because when they brought in Craig Yoho, so it didn't even matter. So they gave up nothing.
I do think Vergas might have been the guy they were targeting. I think it's Hartle is a nice value. I think Vergas might have been the target, just because if you go back to the Luis Garcia deal, they're trying to build a dominant dynamic pen in the future. They're trying to build the Cleveland Pens of old. Like that was the Luis Garcia deal. That's to a degree this deal. But it's fascinating. I mean, Forrest Griffin, he is a rental, but like this is a good value for him.
Yeah. I'm just surprised they didn't have to give up more to get this.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see him add a hitter at this point. Like I said, I'd still like to see Bernardino. I'm like, I don't even know who's actually available out there. It's always crazy too, because last year at the deadline I wanted Josh Smith, and then Josh Smith fell apart and just got traded for nothing. So it's always year to year. It's interesting to look at. But yeah, I mean, like I said, they went out and Joe Adell is going to break that 20 home run thing, if that counts, that he came here mid-year, but he'll get him across that border, no doubt. Are we
counting that? Is that going to count?
I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. But the other thing I'll say too is like, you can't force deals, right? Like you can't take this deal, which you and I both think this is a solid deal. You can't sit there and be like, okay, instead we should have gotten this hitter. It's like, you can only trade with the teams that are available.
That's the thing.
Maybe you could have gotten Luis Garcia in a deal like this, but I also think maybe not. Like, but it's interesting because it's the same deal, right? Like Siebert and Hartle are kind of the centerpieces, and then kind of more backups and relief arms around them.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty happy with this one, I will say. I mean, I also wanted to say this too. We can. I talked about this on the reaction on Saturday, but we can talk about it on the main podcast this year too, or today too. But the thing with Yoho is he kind of acts like a left-handed reliever because of the changeup. Like, so he can get lefties out. So maybe without getting a lefty, you can use him as that kind of guy who faces lefties, right? Because the changeup. So like maybe there is that. I don't know. That's just my guess.
I mean, so here's the thing. Like, that's the reason I still would like a Bernardino is I feel like I'm kind of done with Festa. I was one of the last holder-ons, but it's like Festa.
Yeah, I think Festa gets done. I think you dump Festa if he moves Ciccone to the bullpen.
No, I think it's Alamon.
No, now that they haven't traded him, you don't dump Alamon.
I don't know. I'll be curious to see.
No, if they couldn't trade Alamon, then I don't think they're dumping him.
After his display on Saturday where he wasn't even throwing the right pitches.
No, I mean, I don't know. I would rather have his
I mean, I think you say that, but I think what we've seen with this team, when we've seen him vote as favorites, and Festa is still one of his favorites. So I'm betting that Festa lives to see another day. I mean, he went to Festa yesterday. I mean, sure, it was a big lead, but he went to Cade because he was afraid after that. So, like, I think Festa's probably here to survive. I think this is undoubtedly true, Justin.
I'm supposed to grill here in like 10 minutes. I'm gonna just throw my face on the grill instead of grilling the food. I'm supposed to grill. Just absolutely not. Absolutely not.
This is the follow-up from him. He was just ribbing you. He knows. Bubba Marsh knows us. But thank you for the setup. Is he the best dressed on the roster? I had no idea about that. Do we do things like that? I know hockey used to have those best dressed lists. I mean, yeah. I mean, we can't control it. But oh no, that's the wrong one. I mean,
we're 5 minutes to go, so let's see what happens.
And then there's always the extra time afterwards. This is the thing that's always going to haunt me. Even if I say bet, like, don't get Ortiz in. Like, there was only one other. He was the only other Dominican pitcher on the team. It was a natural closeness, and you wrecked the young kid. Like, I feel bad for Ortiz. Class A did steroids. Class A did cockfighting. Class A was not a good human being. It's very clear.
The Mets are done trading today, so they're going to keep Luis Robert. So there goes that. Not that I thought he was coming here anyway. Again, I think that the Guardians are out on outfielders anyway. That's a good point you said, Jeff. Too, is that yes, the deadline's at 6. Remember, that means that the teams have until 6 o'clock to submit trades to the league.
How
so
that Reds just like, sorry, I'm terrible.
Oh my god, that's Guardians are getting Nate Lowe.
Hey, I brought it up.
Let's go.
Another Nate one of my guys.
All right,
that's hilarious.
Got 2 bats and 2 pitchers. We are back.
Nate Lowe is great with runners in scoring position. It's another one because I brought that up on the show. That's hilarious. I might know what I'm talking about, contrary to the comments on this very show. How about that?
Finally, we got Nate Lowe. So for sure. Wow. All right.
That is a fun one. That is, I talked about on the show, like he has been, he fits a lot of things. And no, he's a terrible defender. So this is the end of Hoskins. He can't defend at all.
Yes. So Hoskins and Fry gone. You upgraded 2 bats. You upgraded 2. This is exactly what we wanted them to do, Jeff. We wanted them to upgrade 2 pitching spots, ideally the bullpen, but then you slate up, upgrade the bullpen. And then
4 additions. 4 additions.
Yes.
I have to laugh. Exactly. All the people in the comments, all the people who were like, I'm tweeting about, like, this team doesn't do anything. I'm like, 2 years ago, they went out and did something like this. I got to see the return. I'm texting our boss right now.
There's not, you're not going to get much. Oh, wow. Victor Vodnik went to the Marlins for Connor Norby and Aiden May. Whoa. Okay. I would have been
Aiden May isn't good though. Aiden May has struggled. You and I both liked him, but it has not worked out. So Nathan Lowe and Joe Adell are both guys who can take care of it when there's runners on. Like that is a big separator here. Oh, shoot. What time? I'm supposed to go. I got to say this, though. I'm supposed to do WTAM at 6:07. So I got a bit of a hard out at about 6:05. So I'm just going to give that warning.
I'll stick around until we hear the return.
And then I might hop back on depending on if it's still going. We'll see. I got to text Jeff Carr. Well, like, I mean, again, I'm not going to say any of this is perfect, but how can you not be excited by this deadline?
I didn't think they were going to do anything else.
Like Nate Lowe is, go back and listen to my Nate Lowe episode.
I'm going to guess.
I
don't have an answer yet. I'm going to guess it's Welbin Francisca. That's what I'm going to guess right now. I don't have any inside information on this.
Like, I'm going to say
I would have liked to have gotten an actual left-handed reliever, but if they, this is what they do.
Locked on Reds, Jeff Carr. When I texted Lowe,
hits with runners in scoring position.
He's like he's an RISP machine. Like that's what this guy does. This guy he's a left-handed DH who cannot he can't hit lefties at all. So like him and Adele kind of makes. And I talked about this. Like go out and trade for a bat, and then have your DH be DeLauder and Lowe. Sorry, just texting back Dennis Maniloff. He was like, I need you now for sure. I'm like, well, I thought I was coming on, but good to know. So split.
Anthony joined us. Long-standing faith in the front office remains undefeated. He was saying, I believe.
Yeah, Anthony's always great.
Yes, Anthony is
always level-headed. I miss you, Anthony, when you're out in the comments.
Yes.
How much, Dave, type it up. Holy overpay? What did they pay to get Vodnik?
Connor Norby and Aiden May. Wow.
Sorry, Dennis is asking me who they got.
The Rockies just fleeced the Marlins. I know Aiden May hasn't been good this year, but I'll take Aiden May over for Victor Vodnik, who's like a project. Like Victor Vodnik stinks. He's a project. Norby, I know Norby's been disappointing as a major league player, but Aiden May, I've loved him since college. So. All right, the 6 o'clock deadline is here, so that's it. Now, last minute trade, Casey Mize to the Padres.
Oh, holy crap! I was surprised they hadn't got rid of him yet. Like,
wow, what a final hour of the deadline. By the way, that's awesome.
This is like one of the best ones ever.
That's
like,
so
I mean, just
crazy.
in general, not just because Cleveland went out and made 4. It just, and again, it's so humorous because there is a subset of this fan base that hates everything they do and is happy when they lose. So it's like
I just need the return for Nate Lowe. I need the return for Nate Lowe. Come on.
Yeah. Okay. So can I bring this up real quickly, Justin? Here is his high leverage WRC plus. You ready for this? 167. He is Freddie Freeman with men in high leverage situations. That's what Nate Lowe is this year. A 167. He's one of the best hitters in baseball with men on base. A 370 batting average, a 469 on base, a 519 slug. And as I believe, he's actually hit well away from Cincinnati was what I was talking about when I first brought him up. Yeah, a 109 on the road, a 132 at home.
Still waiting for the return. I can't get anybody to text me back because everyone's knee deep in this trade deadline. So nobody is.
I think I'm breaking the Nathaniel Lowe news to Dennis right now. He's like, I'm going to go in reverse order. I'm like, did you see we got Nathaniel Lowe too? Well, I'm not doing television right now. This is just radio. I know I'm a mess right now. I'm always a mess. I got a face for radio.
I'll be on 92.3 at 7:20 tonight, by the way.
Yeah, I'm going to be on WTAM in 3 minutes. So, like this is fun. I'm waiting to see on the return as well. I'm like, because he's another rental. Like this is 2 rentals. But yeah, that's the end of Hoskins. They said they needed to add multiple bats. They added 2. They went out and got 2 guys who hit with runners on. And I think you're right. I think you made a very, very astute call that I didn't think about, which is Craig Yoho is their lefty guy.
I think he is with a changeup. Yeah.
I think you're right. I think that was an astute call on your end. I think you should take credit for that. I didn't even think about that, but you were 100% right on that. But I want to thank everyone who joined us. We also had great numbers. I think we're almost at 700. Jesus, guys.
And gals, thank you. Live, yeah.
Wow.
I know someone was asking me if if Kyle Manzardo's on the AAA. I don't think so. I think this is the end of Fry and Hoskins to me are both gone.
Yeah. I think Fry gets sent down and Hoskins gets cut because Lowe is
what a crazy buzzer beater for the Padres to go get Casey. Who do the Padres have to trade for Casey Mize?
I mean, they traded a pretty good prospect for Robbie Ray too. The Padres did. I saw my Padres people complaining about how much they paid for Robbie Ray. But yeah, I got 1 more minute left, guys. So I'll apologize. I might close it and mute it, and then we'll see if
I'll stay on. I'll stay on. Just
and then I'll
stay on for the return for.
Yeah, and if you're still going, I'll jump on after my radio bit here when I call in. But wow, yeah, I got to think Lowe is your new DH because he's really bad in the field. So he'll take over. He's another rental, but they're going to have to clear a roster spot, which would be Hoskins for Lowe. Dion gives you Griffin. Adele was Brito, and yeah, then everything's all caught up. It's all up. So yeah,
I gotta say, I think
it's an A deadline. I got to be honest. People may not agree with me, but that's an A deadline
now. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much better you could have done. Oh, the Dodgers did Dodgers got Hunter Fiducia
back, huh? After I will say I thought the Rays did well on their Liam Hicks deal. Well, I've got to jet. I will be right
All right.
back.
I'll hang around. I think it's funny the Giants are acquiring Caden Kent in that deal for Helio Ramos, and Caden Kent is Jeff Kent's son. So Jeff Kent is obviously playing with was a Giant. So man, maybe your DH platoon is now just Nate Lowe and Joe Adele, since they're both bad defenders. Maybe that's your DH platoon. Manzardo sticks around, and then this is a great point. This is a great point right here by Night Gaunt. Really good point here. Kent and Bonds are back in San Francisco. You have Caden Kent, who's Jeff Kent's son, and then you also have Peyton Bonds, who Peyton Bonds is the nephew of Barry Bonds. So there you go. I actually love that. I almost feel like that's intentional by Buster Posey. That almost feels how much is intentional. So someone was trying to catch up on Griffin and Lowe. Haven't seen the return yet for Lowe. I'm trying to get that from somebody. I've not heard back from who that's going to be, but still waiting to hear what it could be on Lowe. Cash Mayfield to the Tigers. Whoa. Cash Mayfield forward. I mean, yeah, Padres don't have much left in their system, so they were going to have to do something big to get him. So yeah, Cash Mayfield, that's a massive move for Casey Mize. So yeah. Still trying to figure out who is going for Lowe. My wife wouldn't like this. Can't read, can't write, Kent's son. Yes, my wife went to Kent State, and I love doing that to her, so she would hate that. Luke Picard to the Pirates for 3 prospects. That's an interesting deadline buzzer beater. Wow, the Cardinals got Daniel Egan for Lars Nootbaar. Good deal for them. I really like Daniel Egan. He was one of my favorites in that draft class, so that's a good deal. It sounds like not much for the Nathan Lowe. The Guardians might not have given up anything for Nate Lowe. I don't know if there's going to be much. The Guardians are supposed to do media availability at 6:15, so be very curious to see what happens. I am going to tune into that. Let's see. Normal link. So I need to pull up the Guardians email. I mean, I guess he doesn't have to platoon. I would probably. I don't have Nate Lowe's numbers pull up in front of me, so I have to double check because most of my effort right now, guys, is going to figure out who the heck the Guardians traded for Nate Lowe. But so far, the Guardians have not given up much for anything today. Yeah, I think Fry and maybe Hoskins are gone. I think those are the guys they're going to have to send down. They're going to they're going to have to make another. They're going to have to make 2 40-man moves at this point. Now Dion clears 1 40-man move at this point. Zach Neto and Reed Detmer stay with the Angels, so they didn't go at the end. Okay, I need to pull up Nate Lowe's stuff here real quick. Yeah, I mean Nate Lowe has a 820 OPS and a 120 WRC plus. No, I don't think Manzardo's going to Columbus. I don't think that's what's going to happen. Nate Lowe's hitting 083 against lefties this year, a negative 52 WRC plus. So I think it's David Fry is definitely gone. And after that, it could get interesting. I don't think we're guaranteed not to see Hoskins, but we'll see what happens. Yes, apparently this is important to know too. Nathaniel Lowe. It's Nathaniel Lowe. He doesn't like being called Nate Lowe. So there's that. It's Nathaniel. Man, I can't. The Diamondbacks did really good for Lars Nootbaar. I really like Daniel Egan. I cannot believe that. I cannot believe that the Marlins just got fleeced by the Rockies. Connor Norby and Aiden May are favorites of mine, admittedly. So we'll see that. See what happens there. But man, still really happy with that. Still very happy with that Foster Griffin deal. That's just incredible. They are to get Foster Griffin. I thought for sure, given the pitching market, he would go for more. They just traded 4 pieces parts for him. Very, very interesting. So Nate Lowe, yeah, they got 2. They got Nate Lowe, who's a rental, Foster Griffin, who's a rental, and they ended up getting Craig Yoho, who obviously is here for a while, and then you have Joe Adele, who has control through next year. God, the Cincinnati Reds, horrible day for them. All they did was trade Nate Lowe. Yes, Nate Lowe can play first base. I wouldn't say he's a good first baseman defensively. He's pretty great and pretty lowly. I would say you're going to see Kyle Manzardo playing. Alejandro Rivera is the guy going for Nathaniel Lowe. So Rivera is a 19-year-old who is, I believe he's still in complex ball. He might have gotten to up to Hill City at some point this year. Let me double check here. But Rivera, I think, is 19. Yeah, he's going to turn 20. He just now has 5 innings at the low A level. He had a good year at low A. He missed a lot of stuff, but he missed a lot of bats down there. But it's low A, so this is not a big deal. He's got some stuff, but this is a pretty nice deal for the Guardians for a guy who's a rental bat for right now. So all you're giving up is a 19-year-old guy who has 5 innings at low A. Yes, the 4 players that were sent to Nationals for Foster Griffin were Will Dion, Josh Hartle, Nick Mitchell, and Kennedylagis Virgos. And I will say Rivera, too, by the way, is only 5'10", so he's not a big guy. So the Guardians, it's Alejandro Rivera, who is a 5'10", 19-year-old A-ball arm. He has just now gotten up to single A. Like he literally has 5 innings at single A, Hill City. He pitched 2 years in the DSL, which is not uncommon, especially for the kind of pitchers the Guardians develop from the foreign leagues. And then he had a really good year on the complex this year, struck out a lot of batters, but he's also 19 years old. So for a 19-year-old guy who's 5'10", who just now is getting to high A or to low A, who's, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. So the Guardians did fantastic in this deadline. I'm getting some more information on Rivera. So the best prospect the Guardians traded at the deadline was Jacob Cozart. Again, just to recap here, all you did was you gave up Jacob Cozart, who I think is a future defensive specialist behind the plate, who does have power. Josh Hartle, I think, is a back rotation arm. Nick Mitchell's a fourth outfielder. Will Dion's already been up as well for as an up and down arm, but he's fungible, unfortunately. And then Kennedy Vergas has huge stuff, and I'm going to get more information on him. But he's got big stuff too. And then you gave up Bo Naylor and Craig Hoyer, who just guys who weren't helping you right now. Especially there's no more spot for Bo Naylor. So this is good. This is good. So the Guardians cleared out 2 40-man roster spots today with Brito and Will Dion. They haven't cleared a 26-man spot for either of them yet. So that's interesting. My guess, like I said, is I think for sure Fry goes, and then I don't know. I don't know who it's gonna be. It could be Fry and it could be Fry and Hoskins. We'll see. They don't have to create any 40-man spots. I don't think they got what Adele's already on the 40, and then they just cleared a 40-man spot to add. They just cleared a 40-man spot for Foster Griffin. They'll have to create a 40-man spot for Nate Lowe now. So they do have to clear one more 40-man spot. So they cleared one 40-man spot today, and they need to create 3 26-man spots now. So they created one 40-man spot for fair. They traded Tugboat in the pick for Patrick Bailey. That's fair. So Tugboat not as that big of a process. I think the Guardians had a great trade deadline. To me, it's not an okay. If you're thinking about it in terms of grades, is it an A in terms of they got blockbuster? They didn't do a blockbuster, no, but they had a good trade. They had a good deadline. I would say it's an A based on who is available and who they gave up. So I don't have any problems with what they did at the deadline. This is a deadline to be very satisfied by. I was very impressed with what they did. I am on standby to go over and listen in on the Guardians press conference after the trade deadline. So I might drop off here shortly, guys, but I am going to listen in on that. So I may go quiet just so I can hear that. So I may end that. Well, I think you upgrade the bullpen by putting a starter in the bullpen, and I think you also have Craig Yoho, who can be a lefty type reliever because of his changeup. So I think that helps. Jeff, if you want to keep going, I'm going to switch over to the Guardians press conference.
Yeah. Do you know him? I don't know him really.
Rivera. Yeah. I mean, he's a skinny 5'10" right-hander who's got a big arm, but he just got to A-ball. He literally has 5 innings at low A. So yeah.
Can you do me a favor if you go over and no one ask it? Can you ask how did acquiring Patrick Bailey allow them to feel comfortable moving on from their catchers to facilitate their other deals?
I'm sure it did, but yeah, I can ask. Yeah, you're not going to jump on the press conference?
No, I'll just let you do it, and I'll do this because our numbers are high in here. So I'll hold down the fort while you do the press conference. I don't want to run out on people. Sam, they just said that it's Alejandro Rivera, who is a guy who just, I believe, got to Hill City, who is an undersized.
Yes, he's got 5 innings.
So very low cost for Nathan Lowe, which is great because, I mean, heck, so the Reds didn't trade Singer or Stevenson. Oh, I don't understand that. Guy.
And they were saying today, the Reds might give Brady Singer the qualifying offer. Well, he's going to take it. Nobody's going to sign him for that.
So, I don't think so, because I think someone's saying, would they send down Halpin? I think they really do want to keep Quan in left field. Like, I think there's a degree of like what he does.
When this starts, I'm going to jump over. Just by the way, it hasn't started yet, but when it starts,
and I know someone asked about it. We can go because we're media, so we have the links. But Justin will go and he'll.
The Reds did trade. The Reds did trade Caleb Ferguson at the buzzer to the Cardinals.
But isn't Stevenson in a walk year? Why didn't they trade Taylor Stevenson in their walk year? Isn't he?
I don't know. Arthur, I know if you're still on here, Arthur, and then Jeff, can you help me out here? So I'm just checking the math. So they designated Juan Brito for Adele for the 40-man spot, right?
Yep.
Okay, and then they cleared a 40-man spot by trading Dion for Griffin.
Yep.
So they'll need to create a 40-man spot for Nate Lowe, Nathaniel Lowe. He likes to be maybe we'll see. And then they'll need to create 3 26-man roster spots, I believe, right? Because none of them on that 26 yet.
Yes, they'll need 2 hitters to go down and one.
Okay, pitcher. So I don't know. My guess is David Fry, and I will go to AAA, and then they'd have to DFA Hoskins.
That is my guess.
Maybe that's what happens, but I feel like they might hang on to Hoskins.
You can't have 2 DHs. You can't have 2 DHs. Lowe is a DH. He's barely played the field this year.
Yeah,
I think Hoskins isn't producing, and like I said, in the last week he can't even hit. He doesn't hit lefties. He can't. He's flailing off against everything. His defense is poor. I mean, Lowe is 47 games at DH, 27 at first, and he is really bad. Yeah. He is as bad as Hoskins defensively. You can't keep both. Yeah. There's no way.
By the way, Lowe. Someone pointed this out. We'll see what happens. Someone pointed this out though, that Nate Lowe, he's having a terrible year against lefties this year. But for his career, it's a 103 WRC plus and a 716 OPS against lefties. So like. Is he a straight platoon guy? Although that must have been early in his career, because 25 and 26 he's been abysmal. 2024 though, he had a 135 WRC plus against lefties. So like maybe he's
no, he's done. That was early in his career. He's years away from when he was actually able to hit lefties. He's coming in as a right-handed platoon guy. Like I said, it sets up with him and Adele, but Adele will probably play a bit more. Occasionally you'll see, some points where maybe Adele plays some left field. Maybe they feel like that could be beneficial. I don't know. And then DeLauder, or maybe Adele is I don't know. Like I said, I just can't see him being only a platoon guy because it's so limited. But I think Hoskins is gone and Fry is gone. It just doesn't make sense otherwise. Because you're not sending down I still don't think they're going to cut Arias because he's too important to the fact that he handles like 6 positions. He's going to be back to first baseman now too.
Right now Arias is going to play more first. So
so he's first, second, shortstop, and third base. He's all over your infield. So you need Arias. If you're assuming Lowe is a starter at DH and Adele is a starter in the outfield, which he may not be, but then you got Halpin essentially as your bench guy. But Halpin's going to be playing close to every day in center field defensively. Mm-hmm. You're going to have your backup catcher with Hedges, and
God, the Reds had a terrible day.
They did. They really. I mean, they didn't. That's a frustrating day if you are a Reds fan. Yeah. And then, kind of the interesting thing too is at the end of the year, Griffin, Lowe come off the roster, and that'll take care of most of their 40-man roster crunch. Like, it also sets them up well in that regard. It's so it's
Juan Brito is going to the Reds, by the way, as part of that deal. Or it just has, I guess so. Well, they DFA'd him, so that's fine.
Or they claimed him. I don't know how that works.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Can you tell us where you saw that, Guards Force? I'm just kind of curious.
I just saw it on Twitter. It's Charlie Goldsmith, who's the Reds. One of the Reds beat writers had it.
I thought someone would take a gamble on him. Like, it's hard to find second baseman in this league. It is. And he's not good there, but if you're already a bad team, why not see if you can catch gold with, like, I think he's got a chance to be a major league hitter. I do. But, God, like, did I close my, so if I go in,
by the way, did you see this, by the way, that, the return for Lars Nootbaar from Arizona was Daniel Egan?
I did not.
I like that. I like Daniel Egan a lot.
I do, yeah.
That was one of my guys. All right, the media availability still hasn't started yet, so
Yeah, so I'm looking at my December top prospects list, and I did have Mitchell at 26. I had Paulette at 25. I had Brito at 13, and I had Hartle at 14. So those guys are gone, and then you have your graduates. They've shifted between guys graduating and then some of these moves and stuff. They've shifted a lot of guys off their top 30. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to definitely re-rank tonight. It's going to be interesting to look at.
They didn't give up much.
No, but I mean, that's the thing. They traded from their depths. Something we talked about on this very show constantly. It's like, this is actually, it was hard for us to rank like 20 to 35. Like there's a decent amount of depth in there. And they attacked that. Like that is where they traded from. They kept a lot of their high end talent. And I mean, Cozart's the highest rated guy they traded today. The highest anyone ever was on my list though was Juan Brito, of anyone who was sent out today. But it's going to be. I mean, like I said, I still think Brito can hit. I know everyone's kind of. It was ugly when he was up, but I think going to the Reds is a perfect situation because right now the Reds are. He's going to help them tank. Let's be honest. That's where that team's going. Like he's going to be bad defensively, and if he hits enough to prove he's worth keeping, then maybe he takes over as Nathan Lowe's spot as their DH next year. But I wish him nothing but the best. I only heard good things. Talked with my buddy in Anaheim. He said that Joe Adell, A+ person. I don't know anything on Foster Griffin. Nathan Lowe is an A+ person. I've heard that in the past. Like they stuck with all the guys like that. So you guys saying they kind of did trade minor league, but I wouldn't call it roster fodder because fodder is typically more like on the levels. He is. These guys were actual prospects. Someone else pointed out that Nathan Lowe once won a Gold Glove. It's not there anymore, my man. He is. He's
rated as a very bad defender.
It's gotten away from him in the time since then. Like whatever he is at now, like he is. I mean, he's only 31, but it definitely felt like around 2023, everything kind of changed, and that's when he started playing one year to year on 1-year contracts. Like he's gonna probably have another 1-year contract next year. Okay, so this is something we might address on the show or not. Schubert still, after all of this, isn't close to our top 30s. It's a profile that just doesn't work. There's the simplest way to put it. We talk to scouts from other teams. We talk to people from other teams. Like when strikeout rate is that high, that player is never successful. It's the same reason I didn't want Jace Lavalette, right? Like there are certain barriers and rungs that mean it doesn't matter how athletic you are or how hard you hit the ball. If you strike out that much, you're just never going to be successful. It never translates. No. We'll talk about it more in depth at some point. But
maybe in the next couple of days.
Yeah. Schubert's not in my top 40 even after all this. Like, it's great. He gets on base. He does, but when your strikeout rate is that high, there's no examples of like consistent success with the type of swing and miss he has.
Yeah. Bottom line, guys, the Guardians are better than they were 48 hours ago by far and large. Like they are so much better than they were 48 hours ago.
Yeah. I mean,
Craig Yoho is a good member of this bullpen. He might be their solution to left-handers because he throws that changeup. Foster Griffin really helps your rotation because now you're trying to get your rotation through the end of the year and into October. And yes, Eric, I'll be there Wednesday. And then that pushes Slade Ciccone to the bullpen, so that would upgrade your bullpen there. And then you got made your offense better. Like I'm not a big Joe Adell guy, but he's going to be better against lefties than what you've had. And then
he's historically good this year and for his whole career with runners in scoring position.
And there's Nathaniel Lowe, so there's that. So again, the Guardians. I miss Kenneth Elgiesberg. Shoot. I gotta delete that tweet and re-put it out there. But they're better than they were 40 hours ago, and they really didn't give up a whole lot.
No, we're not going to go 6-man rotation, guys. We brought it up a few times. I know some of you know. There's too many off days. It's Slade Ciccone is going to go into the bullpen more than likely, or maybe they send him to AAA. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But he has struggled 3 times through the rotation. He is a 5 and fly guy right now, so you might be able to get better results. You and I have talked to the pitching coach who repeatedly has said Slade Ciccone just needs to go to the pen. And, that he thinks he could be really successful there. So not a Guardians pitching coach, but someone we trust who's a very knowledgeable pitching coach. So I think it's probably him going there. Joe Adell, again, the thing, he's name value. But again, I'll just point out that so they need someone who hits the ball hard. They need someone who hits lefties. They need someone who hits runners in scoring position. He does all three things. He's never going to hit 37 home runs again. That was the exception to the rule. Every other year, he's been his second best year. He was 9% below league average. This year, Joe Adell is the worst hitter on the Cleveland Guardians right now versus right-handed pitching. The only guys who have played for the team this year who had worse numbers against right-handed pitching than Joe Adell is Daniel Schneemann and Bo Naylor. So Joe Adell is probably going to be a guy who plays about, I don't think you can put him as a platoon role because I don't think he'll play enough, but I think in an ideal world, you want to limit him to playing about 70% of the time, every time against lefties, which is about 30%, and then about 40% versus righties. So I think that is where you go with that. If I'm betting on a lineup, it depends who they're facing. I really do think that.
I'm surprised media availability hasn't started yet.
Maybe there's something else.
Maybe they got something in past the deadline. Yeah. I don't know. But I may pick it up on the phone. I don't know because I got some stuff to do, so I may listen on my phone. I need to make dinner here, so I may need to.
No, yeah. I mean, I'm staying at my in-laws and no one's here, so we still have numbers. So I'll stick around.
All right, if you want to go ahead. I might switch to my phone. That's something I might do. I might switch.
I mean, I'll stay. I'm in an empty house.
Okay.
They went to Costa, all right, and I stayed back.
All right, I'm going to jump off and I'll check in on the Zoom and I might check back in here while I'm grilling outside.
I'll just hang out here and continue to answer questions and talk.
Maybe I'll be back in a little bit, but I'll catch you later.
So I will say this. One of the things I talked about is this year, not for his whole career, but this year, Joe Adell is hitting better on the road than at home. Now, Cleveland isn't a great hitter's park versus righties. It is a park that is meant more for lefties, so I don't know if it'll be too much of an improvement. But I also think that, I mean, let's also be honest, leaving the dumpster fire that is the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim can't hurt anyone. That's going to be an improvement. Lowe is, at this point, he's just a DH, but great with runners in scoring position. Really solid versus right-handed pitchers. I'm sorry. He's probably a platoon guy, which I know people don't want to hear, but I mean, he's got a negative WRC plus this year against lefties. He's really bad against lefties. But yeah, they're going to be, it's a fun deadline. Like Justin absolutely nailed it when he said Craig Yoho might be their lefty reliever with that changeup, but it gives him that ability to hit lefties to pitch to lefties. It's a changeup is kind of agnostic in terms of righty lefty splits. Someone else pointed out Adell does have great bat speed. He has bat speed, which allows for hard hit, but he doesn't do anything else. That's the problem. Like he barrels some, but not enough. Last year he barreled a lot more. He chases, not as bad as someone like Gabby, but it's a similar profile to Gabby Arias, but with a better launch angle, allows him to tap into his power. Like I said, he really struggles versus righties. That's why he had 37 home runs. Last year he was close to average against righties, and that's why he got 37 home runs. But other than that, I mean, even last year, because of the defensive issues, he was only worth one win. So, it's just going to be hard to see anything. He's a great addition. He fits this team. I have no issues with that trade at all. And then when you go and you add Nathan Lowe, that is two pieces that help you. They hit better with runners in scoring position. And then Forrest Griffin it's a weird trade because, first you knee jerk and say, well, the Nationals don't have good players. That's why he's an all-star. But you're like, no, they have very good players. And, you're going and adding Foster Griffin to this mix and, you're getting another lefty, which is always tough, right? And hey, maybe they kept a lefty that another team could have traded to have faced them. And like all of a sudden, the rotation was always the strong point. Like the whole last week, I've said, no, you got to buy. You got to buy because this rotation is going to give you a chance. That rotation just got tough when you add in Griffin, right? Like we're going to have some fun debates down the stretch. I don't know who the top three arms are in a short series. Like who are you leaving out? Parker Messick was your all-star. Forrest Griffin is an all-star. Gavin Williams has looked unbelievable of late. Tanner Bivey has been on a great stretch. My gosh, those 4, that is a heck of a rotation. So, I mean, then you have that, and then hopefully this trickle down with Slade Ciccone moving into the rotation in the bullpen with that can play up. And then, like, I'm so bad at things like projecting lineups, but let's just do an attempt since people have asked, and I want to appeal. I mean, it's amazing there's still 600 of you guys here. So, like, we did, and hey, Alex Cobb, by the way, Justin is still hurt by that deal. Nate Furman just got called up, and Jacob Bresnahan looks awesome. And that was a trade we were both kind of like, I wish those weren't the pieces. I don't think they're going to be able to re-sign Griffin just because I think starting pitching is insane in the open market. I got to be honest. I think starting pitching gets left out. But if I'm attempting to think how this goes, I think it's probably Quan, Jose, and DeLauder at your top 3 spots most days. I would honestly consider flipping Jose and DeLauder because the 2 spot is so important, and Jose has struggled very badly since the injury. I then think with the way this team is set up, I'm probably still going to keep. I would personally put Bazana 4. I know that's not what people expect, but he sees a ton of pitches and he does hit well in that situation. 5 would be Nathaniel Lowe for me. 6, I would then say Joe Adell. I'm going to leave someone out. This is why I'm bad at these. This is why I write things out. Joe Adell. And see, Adell doesn't make enough contact. You don't want him in that 4 hole. He is the guy you want hitting 6th because he's not a contact guy. He's going to strike out. He has a Gabby Arias approach. And that's why, like, he's perfect in somewhere like in this lineup. And that's why I kind of like lining up to Bazana, Adell, or Bazana, Lowe, and Adell, because you're getting from the guys from Bazana and Lowe have better on base rates. Adell might have more power, but those are also your 3 best hitters with runners in scoring position. But if we did it like this, by the way, with Bazana, I don't have any music on. Is anyone else hearing music? Because I don't have anything going on in here. So yeah, 4 Bazana, 5 Lowe, 6 Adell, 7 Manzardo, right? 8 Bailey, 9 Rocchio. That's where I would go with it. So that's my view. And then on days where maybe that could just be either, I'll move my phone so it's not right next to things. But the platoon then would be, you would want someone who hits righties. So I guess it'd probably be Halpin, and then maybe you kind of look at the Halpin side of it. So the Cardinals got Caleb Ferguson for international bonus space money, which is completely unusable now. So that was just cost saving by the Reds. But yeah, my only downside to that whole alignment I just brought up is in that situation, your defense is getting butchered. With Adell and DeLauder are both below average defenders. So that may not be the best situation. I do kind of think, I'll be curious, you're going to move it around a lot. It's baseball. You're going to have these guys playing multiple games a week. You're going to be figuring out who has off days and what, but I mean, that's an interesting, fun lineup, right? Like that's it. Think about how different that just shifts everything, where you have that situation where, Quan, Jose, Chase, Bazana, Lowe, Adell, and then you're going with, like I said, with Manzardo, Bailey, Rocchio. Like that's transformative. There's a 19-year-old kid from Cuba. There might be a 19-year-old kid for Cuba with international money, but I also bet if he's good enough, he might not want to sign and try to wait to get more money later. It feels like at this point. I'm curious to see. I think Angel stays because unlike Fry, he can play some center field and back up multiple spots. And then Gabby is your entire infield. And Halpin is also the guy. I think Halpin's probably going to play a lot still. I think he's probably going to play 40 to 50% of the time in a split with Adell. And I think in some respects, the guy who gets hurt by this is if they hadn't gotten Adell, then maybe Blake Perkins would have been the guy. But Perkins gets completely replaced Bazana's not going to center right now. You don't have a second baseman. Maybe in the offseason. Lowe is making so little money because he's been really inconsistent. Like he's been first baseman. It's same, Hoskins had decent numbers a year ago. You can't send down Festa. You have to cut him. Return for Lowe was apparently they're getting Juan Brito in it now. He was designated for assignment. Maybe now he's not. I don't know how that works. But then Alejandro Rivera, who's a young kid who they just called up to Hill City, throws hard, undersized, not a guy that I had spent any time on. Justin knew him a little, but not someone that really scares us. Detroit had to sell Mize, right? Like, are you going to give him the qualifying offer? Like they're in a tough spot because Mize is also a rental. So they went out and traded for Mize. And here's the funny thing too. If you go back like 2 nights ago, it was a separate trade. So yeah, I didn't know that Brito was traded separately. I'll try to figure out that situation. But 2 nights ago, so many people were upset. Like the White Sox were doing things and traded for Luis Castillo. Forrest Griffin is exponentially better than Luis Castillo. And you also don't have to take on that terrible contract. You're not locking up Griffin. Starting pitching is too expensive on the open market. Griffin has never had a chance to get paid. He was a Kansas City first-round pick. He struggled with them, had some ups and downs, went to Korea, figured it out. When does he turn 31? He might have already turned 30. He is 31. He's going to hit the open market and go for the biggest money. He's never been paid. Forrest Griffin's a 0.0. Low, we'll see how he plays. But that's, he's in that group of guys that are kind of like Hoskins and Randall Gierchuk. And those type of guys have bat, mostly a platoon DH type, and we're going to figure out what's happening. Oh, shoot, I missed this. I don't know. It did feel like it was very active, but you would think that would kind of, in some respects, negatively affect things. Like, how can you judge for Cleveland, for instance, getting Joe Adell, because you're paying to get him for a year and a half, but at the same time, who knows what next year is going to be. So you would think it would actually have a negative effect, but because of the uncertainty, but it was certainly a fun one. He's pretty well in speed, but Adele and Perkins, who's going to now rot in AAA, both beat him. So they actually had some interesting ones. I mean, honestly, I think they're about the same. How Straw walked some and saw a lot of pitches. Halpin doesn't walk at all, so it's a different type of hitter. It's not how it works. These guys want to get paid. They're going to go out and test free agency and see what money they can get. Like, Forrest Griffin's never been paid. He's a left-handed pitcher who's coming off an all-star year, who's 31. He's going to go in the open market and try to get as much as possible because starting pitchers get paid. Like, that's the nature of the game. That's why we're probably going to head to a lockout because, I mean, teams can't keep up with the Dodgers who, it's an unfair system. It's the problem with it is it's baseball does not want Cleveland to be successful. I talked about this in the offseason. Like, Cleveland Guardians being successful as they are is not what Major League Baseball wants. This is a bottom 5 market in terms of size, in terms of economics. Major League Baseball would love Cleveland to just be a feeder system for better teams. They don't want Cleveland to be good. It doesn't bring enough highs. Not enough people are paying attention. It's a lower market share when they're in games. That is Major League Baseball. So, they can talk a good game, but until they do things to actually work on evening the field like every other major sport does, it's always going to be kind of annoying and tough. Which trade do I like the most? Which one do I like the least? I probably weirdly like the Yoho trade the most because you're going to get, it costs virtually nothing that was going to hurt you. And you're getting lots of years of control. Like, he's a multi-year impact guy. I mean, I still give it a solid B, but Joe Adell is probably my least favorite just because I think people are overvaluing him and they gave up the biggest prospect return there. But again, it's a B. I don't dislike that trade. I like that trade. None of these are trades. This isn't when they trade for Alex Cobb and I'm like, this is like a C- deal. This is, it's just in that set. Like, they gave up nothing for Low, right? That makes that hard to have any issues. Forrest Griffin, they gave, Forrest Griffin is close just because I do like Hartle, and Vergas is interesting, but like that's the why. It's more what they had to give up than anything else, because I think these are all nice additions. Thank you. I'm glad. It's a fun one. Because Martinez isn't good. Are you watching the team? Angel Martinez, he's really inconsistent, and he's every year about 20% below league average. He's not hitting lefties this year. His defensive metrics are better in the corners. He was a terrible center fielder. He's not a good major league player. I've never understood the obsession with Angel. He doesn't perform. He has a hot stretch for 2 weeks, and then he has a bad month. And his overall line and everything else he does, he's had one hit since he came back. He's just not very good. I've never understood the fan base's loving of Angel. It doesn't make logical sense to me. Yeah, I mean, one of them is undoubtedly going down. I think it's Fry. For sure. And I think with my projection, you pick your 4 bench bats. It would be Halpin, Hedges, Arias, and probably Martinez as your 4th because of his flexibility. I don't think they're giving up Festa. I mean, color me surprised. I agree. Fry down, Hoskins DFA. I think Vogt trusts Festa. I would have honestly liked to have seen them trade for one more reliever, because I'm kind of done with Festa. But I think Slade probably moves Alamon out because there's been some conflicts with him. Yeah, I agree. I mean, Griffin was a shock. I mean, I'll say it, Bazzana works his tail off. I'm not worried about him figuring things out. If there's a player who you want to have to go and learn a new position, it's Bazzana, because all he knows how to do is play baseball. He seems to have no life outside of it.
I'm back.
Oh, okay. I got a little confused there.
I forgot I have License to Ill still saved on here from when I was sick. So the Guardians are saying that the media availability is until 7, so I'm just out here cooking dinner and wait until 7 o'clock when they get on.
Oh, I better turn in my get some power going into this computer. He can't net a comp pick because they can't give Forrest Griffin a qualifying offer. When you're traded in season, you no longer qualify for a qualifying offer. So I've seen a few people, kind of looking to the future with him and this and that. And hey, he can't. Sorry, everyone. I'm gonna give you some weird angles while I try to figure out how to plug my computer in.
My burgers are not burnt. Okay, they're fine. They're on the grill. They're just fine. We're still really curious to see what happens with the roster. What did you keep calling him, Jeff? Someone said
officially a deal for one.
What'd you keep calling
Some people say we are not funny, so I appreciate someone saying that we're cracking them up. What?
Someone said in the comments, Jeff, you got to learn his name is Foster. What do you keep calling him?
Oh, well, I keep saying
the wrong name.
Forrest, probably. I don't know.
Forrest. Run, Forrest, run.
I think someone's asking how much payroll did they add. Who cares? They got better.
I mean, are we saying that because we think, like, why are we concerned about the payroll right now?
I mean, Adele is a few million. Forrest Griffin is. I don't think
they definitely added payroll. They didn't.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Manzardo is staying up. So they need someone. Why do they need 4 spots? Okay, because we haven't. That they need 3 spots. Dion is gone. Brito's gone. We don't know if they'll DFA Hoskins or yet. So
they need 3 26-man spots.
Yes,
and they don't have that right now because Dion was in AAA. Dion went down for Craig Yoho the other day, so they still need 3 spots.
I mean, I think a big part of what they did here was trading in the lineup is Griffin and Adele. They both, and Griffin or Adele for his his foibles. Adele has always hit with runners in scoring position as well. He's over 110 for his career. He's over 130 this year.
See, I'm sorry, but I don't buy that as a skill.
Some guy, I mean, I do. Some guys do well with it, and some don't. And he's done it for his career. So
I mean, yeah, he's not. Maybe for him it's consistent because he's done it for his career. But like, I don't think you can control when you hit and when you don't. Like sometimes the ball gets through, sometimes it doesn't.
But I think like when you're looking at the overall performance in those moments, some players like it should be more pressure on the pitcher than the hitter. But some players, and we've seen Cleveland when they press, and other guys seem to be like, okay, now I'm in a situation with this. Like there's a mindset, and I used to be completely agreeing with you, but I've kind of switched over the years. See, Adele can't play center at all. Like, I mean, he was the worst defensive center fielder in baseball last year, so he is not touching center. He was literally the worst defensive center fielder in baseball, so that's a no-go. Lowe was one of the worst. He's been entirely a DH this year. So I understand your thoughts because you probably don't like Manzardo and you probably want someone else to move, but neither of these are happening. Lowe is going to mostly DH. Adele is going to play. He has a strong arm, but no range. He's going to be right field DH.
Adele is not even a good defensive right fielder, so he can't play center either.
No, last year when he hit all the home runs, he played center, but he was literally the worst defensive center fielder in baseball by a huge amount.
Center field. If they DFA Hoskins, yes, 120. Well, no, they still need 140-man roster move, and they also need, again, 3 26-man moves.
Yeah. But they're not going to do it because they want 2 lefties. Like, I know people want Herron gone, and boy, has Herron struggled. But but now they're traded Dion. They don't even have another lefty who's on the 40-man outside of Saber and Herron. So I get it, but he is. I think Herron is here to stay.
In the postseason, maybe you can move Cantillo to the bullpen, but
yeah. No, because if Alamon goes down instead of Festa, they just need one move. Brito's off the 40.
Alamon's going anywhere.
We'll see. Brito's off the 40, and the trade Dion, so that's 2 spots. So they only need one spot.
I would guess with how things are going right now. I know nobody asked that, but I know with how things are going right now, my guess is that we won't see Daniel Espino again until September when the rosters expand.
Yeah, I think they'll limit him intentionally.
Vergez is a big-armed right-hander. He has a wicked fastball. I've seen it up to double-plus grades. I've not seen him in person. I've seen him on video, but I've heard from people who have seen him in person, and the fastball is good. I think it's legitimate up to 99 and has some good characteristics to it. He's got a slider that's like nothing special to write home about, and he just has no idea where the ball's going half the time. This is my favorite joke, but I keep saying that the strike zone is a foreign country to him. Like sometimes he finds it, sometimes he doesn't. He is an adventure on the mound. I think he's the highest upside player in that trade. Hartle is the safest player in that trade. Mitchell's okay, and Dion is just kind of roster depth. So
I don't know if we'll see Hanau this year. Rocchio has been in a pretty big decline.
By the way,
oh, you just cut out, Justin.
I cut out. Okay, Juan Brito went to the Reds for cash, by the way.
Yeah.
So officially not a part of the the Nathaniel Lowe trade. Which, by the way, he does go by Nathaniel, not Nate. In case anyone's wondering, I've heard that's a point of contention. He goes by Nathaniel.
Which I get it. My son is a Nathaniel, and he gets very mad if he gets called anything other than Nathaniel. So maybe it's a Nathaniel thing. If you try to call my son Nate or Nathan, he will get very indignant. Now he is 4, so it's a little bit different, but he'll vibe with that.
We'll cover this on tomorrow's show, but I'm going to say the Guardians had the best deadline of anybody in the AL Central, better than the White Sox.
For sure, the White Sox. I kind of like. I do like some of the Twins moves. I kind of have to sit and look at them. Kansas City, I didn't feel like got a lot for their pieces. I can't think of anything that stands out. I think the Tigers, like I said, I think the Tigers did well.
Yeah.
I'm going
to jump off again because we have 5 minutes until media availability. So,
and I never saw the Mize return, so I don't know.
Oh, Mize return was Cash Mayfield and somebody else.
It's a decent return.
Yeah.
So, wait. Cash Mayfield's a nice return. So this is by me calling him by the wrong first name. I'm referencing instead a mixed martial arts fighter. Interesting. That's why people keep bringing up. I don't know. I gotta be honest. Like, I wish I could give you a great answer there. What are the chances that Griffin becomes the number 3 SP? It's just that hard situation. I think some of this, honestly, is going to come down to matchups. You know, looking at teams. You know, for instance, let's say you get someone like Houston in the first round. Now, Houston is a heavy right-handed lineup. You might actually want to go with 2 righties in that matchup because righties have the platoon advantage, right? Go with those starters. So I think a lot of it's going to come down on matchups. Because you have now 4 really nice starters to go to. No, they traded for him. They got Nathaniel Lowe. They added him last second. Foster is a rental. Lowe is a rental. Adele is 1.5 years, so this year and next. And Craig Yoho is a rookie. You're getting him for probably 6 more years at this point because he's not going to pitch enough this year to, I think, get a full year. So this year kind of just is like one of those partials. So Yoho is a huge one in terms of control. It's not happening. I know everybody. And if you don't like Arias, like Joe Adele is the exact same approach. So it's not going to be fun for you. It's just Adele has some more launch, but it's the same approach. Yeah, this is what I feel like with runners in scoring position. I think some guys just seem to lock in better. They got Nathaniel Lowe to be a DH. They got Joe Adele to be a outfielder DH. We'll see exactly what his role is. Forrest Griffin's going to slide into the rotation, and then they went and added Craig Yoho, who we think is kind of going to be maybe potentially another guy they can go to versus lefties. See, I still don't know if Gavin's all the way our number 1 because Gavin's had a great, 3-4 starts now. Before that, he was scuffling. I'm kind of, we got to see what Gavin can do the rest of the way. I don't think anyone's role is defined yet. I think we got to see where we are, who is hot, who's performing by the end of the year. As much as I am excited by the way he's pitched, we can go back to May where he had a few points where we're seeing him struggle. So I got to see who has it going. I agree. And I'll say this: I do all the comments for the most part. It's always me who's commenting on the YouTube, and there's a subset of fans that would rather this team make the playoffs 1 out of every 5 years and spend $30 more million a year than to see them make the playoffs 4 out of 5 years with the current payroll. That is it's a weird breakdown. Center field is what I'm assuming. But here's the thing. Hoskins isn't hitting lefties this year. Hoskins is not hitting lefties at all this year. He is not a power threat against left-handed pitchers. He is hitting he has reverse splits. He's not hitting lefties at all. So he's not being that guy. That's why you trade for Joe Adele, because Hoskins isn't doing what you want him to do. Nope, Hoskins, yep, that's all you need. If you DFA him, they've already cleared 2 spots with Dion and Brito. Yeah. I mean, Arias is probably also our best defensive shortstop, our best defensive second baseman. Probably not third base, but if you give him enough time, he might be there as well. That's why he's here. He's an ace defender with elite bat speed. If he we never got to, if we joked about in the offseason, we were going to talk about take one player and you can improve one tool on him. I would have picked Arias and, made it so he doesn't chase, because if you take his bat speed and all of a sudden he has a good eye for the zone with all of his other traits, he's going to be a borderline all-star at shortstop, second base. Second base, that's what that is. That's why he's here. And I know people don't like to hear that. And I know everyone loves to make fun of Chris Jimenez, but like that's what he was getting at with his statement. It's like there's elite tools in the package. It just unfortunately it's all high-low, right? Like his negatives are so negative that it makes him, a borderline player. Yeah, because here's the other thing too. Like, as much as Festa gets overused, there's also a role where you want that guy to. You need someone who can eat innings, right? Like you need a guy who's okay if he doesn't pitch for 5 days. Your whole bullpen can't be hard chargers. And Heron, that's why I wanted another lefty. I mean, Bernardino, it's weird he didn't get traded, but hey. We don't know who it is yet. Hoskins is just our. It was a fun deadline. I don't know how you can be. This is true, but I mean, he also had the strongest arm of any second baseman or shortstop in baseball last year. So, it's just the nature of the beast. Hartle was, let's see, the highest Hartle I think ever was 14th in the offseason. And then I dropped him on my last update. He is sitting at 25. I thought he was going to kind of level up this year, and instead of looking like I thought he could get to be in the potential 3. Instead, he ended up looking like, a 5th starter to me. I don't see a pathway for him up this year. It's interesting. I definitely thought that, Engel and Aleman were the second and third guys I thought most likely to be traded, but they didn't trade anyone from their top 20 prospects by mine. I know Kozar was 18th on MLB. I had him in 22nd. That's the highest rated guy. And Brito and Hartle were in the teens in the offseason, but they just did not, didn't have to give up big value. Yeah, I like Tink Hence. It just never came together for him. And he's got command issues. And if there's a reason a pitcher doesn't work out, it's command and control issues. Listen, if you guys want to if the Guardians want to sign my 4-year-old right now to a $1 million 25-year, that was Magic Johnson contract, right? $1 million, we'll do it. I'll sign tomorrow. We'll focus on baseball. He's got a lot of energy. He got the ADD from his dad. He's got a lot of energy, so we'll just focus. And he loved his baseball camp. He's been telling me how much he wants to go back and do it. And I'm like, buddy, it's done, but he wants it to start tomorrow. So he's got some of the Travis Bazzana in him. Can we go? Is it tomorrow? Can we go? Buddy, next year is when that one opens again. So, I hope so. I mean, it's going to be interesting. They definitely have they have the easiest schedule and they have the off days. That's the one thing that kind of gets forgotten. They didn't have the off days that all these other teams had in the first half. So they didn't get rest like some of these other teams did. They had a hard schedule with a lot of on days, and now they're getting those off days. And that's also going to help some guys stay fresher. No, they had to give us cash. That's the way it works. We made a little money on that deal. I'm assuming it's in the language of how his contract was signed, because I thought the same thing too. I was like, oh man, this guy doesn't have a lot of control. They're getting a lot of control with him. This is fantastic. But he must have signed a deal that specifically made him a free agent at the end of the 1-year contract, is how I'm betting it. That's a good call, Chris. He could. And honestly, I would prefer that. I would probably get listed as an on-hell hater. I'm just not as much of a believer. Blake Perkins has better speed and is a better defender at all 3 spots. Yeah, I could get behind that. I like that idea. It's a good thought, Chris. See, I don't know if he has a late plate discipline or if he's just really passive. One of the things we talked about on the show, and one of the things that I got very focused on over the years, is I used to look at walk rate as something that's transferable. And the thing with walk rate is it's kind of like that old saying, what is it? All squares are rectangles, not all rectangles are squares. Everyone with a good walk rate had a good walk rate in the minors, but not everyone had a good walk rate in the minors, continues it in the majors. He's one of the most passive hitters in baseball, and that's why we were kind of not as sure about him as other people. And that was one of the reasons. He just waits for too much of the action to come to him. And then we saw at the big league level, and he was behind on things. He's a trade asset. I don't see a future with him and this team. I think he's a trade asset. I know that's kind of rough to say, but I don't see it. I don't think there's anything to get on track with Fry. If you just look at his performance, he had 1.5 good months that got him into an all-star game where he was on fire. He had a BABIP that was unsustainable. I'm going to eventually get that t-shirt said that, it's not a breakout, it's BABIP. Remember that great Nolan Jones year where everyone's like, he's going to win batting titles. This guy's going to win an MVP. He had a 400 BABIP. Like, there's those things you can look for. And David Fry, I don't think there's anything to get on track. David Fry is what he is. And they found some value for a time. But after he came back from injury last year, he couldn't hit lefties. He hasn't hit lefties this year. I just don't think there's much there. No, I think he was joking. Cleveland's getting cash from that. I mean, I'm not opposed. I still just don't think it's going to be the case. Here's the thing, though, Sam. Have you actually watched Blake Perkins? Everyone loves to make assumptions without having watched a guy. Blake Perkins was a Gold Glove candidate. Blake Perkins has a 693 OPS versus left-handed pitching. Blake Perkins has played really well in years past. Blake Perkins has a really low batting average this year. His on-base percentage is only 10 points lower than Angel Martinez. And he would be one of the fastest guys on the team. I'm satisfied with what they did, but I think, I still would have loved, maybe a stronger hitter or one more reliever, like a real lefty. Like, of who's left, like Bernardino would have been the guy. No, because he's not going to play versus lefties. He's a platoon bat. He can't hit lefties. So don't worry that he hasn't done that. He's not going to play. You went and got Joe Adell to hit versus lefties. Chase Lauder's having a great year versus lefties. His role is to not play versus lefties. No, agreed. No, he made the catch where he dove into the netting, and that was early in the game. They lost it against Arizona. He might have had a great catch the other day before that, but one great catch doesn't make a guy great. He's fine in the sides. He's just not great in the middle, but he's not a good hitter, and he's hurting the team every single game by his lack of production. So this is the lineup tomorrow. Again, what I would do is different from what they do, but I assume Quan, Jose, Chase, 4-hole because it's Manaea who's a lefty. Maybe they do go Adell. 4, 5, Bazana, 6. If they get rid of Hoskins, then that would be probably Manzardo. 7 is Bailey. 8, Halpin. 9, Rocchio. They really did. They ripped it down to the studs. He's not good, man. I hate to break it to you. He's 20% below league average offensively, and he's like, what? Explain to me why he's good. Go look at his numbers for his career. This is a guy who's a career 226 batting average with 900 plate appearances, a 272 on base, a sub 300 on base is bad, a 371 slug. That means he's a 640 OPS. That's not, and he's got a negative career defensive WAR. He's almost a negative career WAR player. That's not a good player. Fair. It'd be hard to kind of knock him out. I mean, maybe low. I just don't see a pathway for Griffin. He's going to go get starting pitchers are too expensive. That was in 23. He has not been good this year. He's not good last year. His value is like, you can't talk about, and Gold Gloves don't really matter. Like in terms of like saying someone's a good defender, you go and you look at his overall value. He has been a terrible defender at first base this year. He played almost exclusively DH for the Reds. They didn't even want to try him at first. When they put him at first, he was bad. Like, I don't care if a guy's won a Gold Glove. Like, last year, he was terrible as well. He was terrible this year. 2024, you know what? He was solid, but he has not been good since then. He has fallen apart. It's part of, like, maybe aging or what, but it doesn't matter. He's a bad defender. Thanks for joining. Still got 500 strong. I'm shocked by that. he's got a 110 WRC plus against righties this year so far. So he's 10% above league average. So it's not an overstatement. He's 10% better than league average. That's hitting righties. I mean, that's the thing. You got to really dig into it. Like he's a 60, I think, against lefties, but he is 10% better than league average. Now, that is partially because of walks. So maybe you could be right because he's not really hitting them. He's walking a lot, but he is doing things. They didn't fix him, though. Bailey is kind of back to where he is expected to be by the end of the year. Like Hedges, he changed his approach. Joe Adell, you're not going to do that same approach because what you did with Hedges is he changed his launch angle so you get the ball quicker. If you do that to Adell, then you're eliminating his power. So you wouldn't want to do that with Adell. You want Adell to have kind of that deeper swing so you can hit for more power. Nope, I was explaining why Arias is here. Yeah, and I don't think, honestly, with his no trade, I don't think he'd want to come to Cleveland. I know that don't annoy people. Arias is better than Martinez. Dude, Arias is an elite defender. Martinez has no plus skill. This is what you're mean. That's all year. Angel Martinez has no plus skill. 0. He's a below average defender for his career with a 640 OPS. Like, that's what I don't understand. I don't understand some of the irrational loves that happen with this fan base. And like Martinez is one of them, where it's just constantly people saying he's the next Jose. It's like, no, he's at 1,000 plate appearances and he's a 20% below league average hitter who, by every metric, is a bad defender. He makes occasional good plays. It's the same as Joe Adell. You can make an occasional good play. It doesn't make you a good defender. Then you're out because that's modern baseball. Like, again, this is stuff I see all the time. Platoons happen. What, you want to send out Nathan Lowe who can't hit a lefty? I have a better chance of hitting a lefty this year than Nathan Lowe by stats. Like, you need to platoon guys because that is what baseball is. It's not just Cleveland. It's all teams. Like, you got to evolve and grow. Like, I have been covering baseball for 20 years. When I started out, I was like, I didn't even really know on base percentage. I had to learn about all of those stats. And then by the time I really got a handle on my OOTP stats, I had to learn a new set. And it's like, you have to learn, evolve, and grow, or you're just going to get left behind because this game is always at the cutting edge. Like, that's how it's judged. That's how it's evaluated. That's how trades are made. I agree. No, I agree with everything here. Like, it's a very low, cost for what they did today. I mean, I think the 4 should flip around depending on, I think you can make a case that it should be Nathan Lowe versus, or Bazana. Like, Bazana's hit really well as far as the scoring position. But if you don't want to put him there, I think, Lowe versus righties and Adell versus lefties could also make sense depending on the lineup. Especially playing like an elite shortstop. I mean, you at least have a multi-time All-Star. Yeah, we haven't even had a chance to talk about Ryan Borchik. This is a great call. I don't know. I don't think Armstrong's coming back. I think Armstrong is done. So I think he's done for the year with that injury. I would be surprised if he's coming back. But Borchik is a guy who's been successful in that lefty role, and maybe they also think they can get something. That's a good call. We haven't talked about him at all, and we probably should. But that's a good reminder, a good call there. Unranked, he's got all the swing and miss issues of all the guys we've talked about. He's a quad A guy. I mean, you can diss Arias. Don't get me wrong. Like, Arias there's a lot of issues in that game. Like, the chase rate is horrid. The contact rates are horrid. But those tools are always going to salivate. Like, he has things he does terrible. He's got to be the DH. He can't field. Unfortunately, you can't. It's only media. Oh, that's interesting. I totally missed that one. Thank you for that, Michael. I thought for sure they were going to use him as a depth guy, and a really good writer, Justin Stern with the Brewers, thought that he might actually contribute this year. I mean, I think it's Janau who takes over at shortstop. I'll be curious to see. Barocchio has fallen off quite a bit. Cade, Holderman, Gaddis, Yoho, Saccone, Sprowski, probably Heron still in there. That's what, 2, 4, 6, Heron. And then I still think it's probably Festa. That's probably your 8. I know that's what people want to hear, but So Schneemann a year ago did not chase, and he walked a lot. This year he started chasing like crazy, and that's what killed him in terms of his production and value. Weird they hit lefties well this year, did not hit righties. I think they just want him to get at bats and try to get back to what he was doing well. After these trades, though, it's going to be hard for him to find his way back into this roster unless it is at the expense of someone like Halpin. But then they also went out and added Blake Perkins. So it is a super hard back road for Schneemann. Basically, it would take an injury on the infield, I think, to get him up this year. And God, I'm going to get myself in trouble here. But if you look at Jimenez now, and even his end of his year runs in Cleveland, he's like a 70, 80 WRC plus guy. He's 20% below league average on Angel Martinez range. But Jimenez does it with that elite defense. There's value in that. We use StreamYard. That's what we're using for this. I think they did enough to get in there. But, it's going to be a difficult road. Man, Rafael Betancourt. I'm always going to talk about that one. That's going to be an interesting one. Espino's going to be on a limited innings count just because he hasn't pitched so much. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see him just not appear in as many games. I think, when rosters expand, like he could be a weapon. I think they want to keep him fresh, but also keep some powder in the barrel and make sure he can provide opportunities. Not going to cut him, but I think sending him down makes sense. Yeah, this is the thing. Like, I know people get so mad at the front office, but they did exactly what they said they were going to do. Every bit of it. Like, I'd have to go look and see. I mean, I'm going to get myself in trouble with this. I bet was Bo Naylor arbitration eligible this year? I can't even remember. I don't think so. So I don't think Perkins was. So I think the Yoho Hewer deal was probably a net. They didn't spend, but every other deal they took on some additional money. They gave young guys opportunities. You saw Brito get a chance. It wasn't a long chance, but you saw him get a chance. You saw, obviously the guys who stuck around like Pisana and Delauder. And then, we saw Watson for a little bit. And I know people are screaming for Watson, and Watson's a lot of fun. And Watson is a better version of Martinez, in my opinion. But Watson's also striking out 1 out of every 3 times. Like there's things to be working on. There's things we're going to do, and go for. That's why I'd rather have a Joe Adele than a Khalil Watson, because he has a baseline of major league success. Like, give me that guy who's got a baseline of major league success. Hey, might as well, right? Like I said, I live in Milwaukee. Talking to the Milwaukee writers, like great dude, elite defender, elite speed, can hit lefties. Nice depth option to have. Because the command hasn't been there in 2 years. That's the problem. And command is so hard to get back once it's gone. And that 1 year was kind of an aberration. Like that wasn't him for his career. So it makes it hard to count on it. Yeah. Or maybe now they feel like they have enough depth. Maybe they try Logan Allen as a reliever. I know people don't love Logan Allen, but he's like a borderline starter. There's value in that. And maybe Steph can play up in the pen. This is the expectation, yeah. So Cleveland has some major weaknesses. One, they can't hit with runners in scoring position. Adele is doing that great this year and has done it for his entire career. He hits the crap out of the ball. This team isn't hitting for power. He hits the ball hard. They struggle versus lefties. He is awesome versus lefties. So he has some issues, no doubt. Like, he is the worst hitter on this team right now versus right-handed pitching by every measure or metric out there. But you're getting a guy specifically to fill gaps, to fill needs, a player who, when you're looking through, like, oh, what are this team's three biggest issues? It's runners in scoring position, it's power, it's lefties. He fills all three. And it costs you 1 prospect, which there's less chance of getting burned on a 1-for-1 deal. Doesn't mean it can't happen, cough, Tobias Myers, Junior Caminero, but less likely. So I think that is what you see there. And it's a solid addition. I'm just betting no one wanted him. Is he, though? Like, I feel like you're probably saying Tanner is 4, but like Tanner's been really good too this year of late. Like, I think there's a lot. I think Adele is a solid addition. I mean, like in an ideal world, I do like Taylor Ward more because he hits righties and lefties and is an equally bad defender. Adele cannot hit righties this year, like at all. So that's the ideal world, but you're getting 1.5 years of Adele to fill a need. So, I mean, I still think it's a good trade. Oh, so that makes sense. I answered this one already. When I used to have a really good friend in college named Adam Holland, so I just had to take this question. You got another 1.5 years of Quan. He's on the same timetable as Adele. They want to make it. They want to try to do damage. You're not going to get a great. I mean, Quan was one of the worst hitters in baseball until July, and he was terrible in the second half of last year. What are you really getting for that? He's not a power hitter. Like, I think he's limited in what you get. So you might as well just ride him out until he goes. Like, you're gonna make yourself weaker to get a mid-level or low-level prospect. No, just take a full year. Let him play. Like, have the best team out there. Yeah, he's got to be the DH. No, I think it's DFA Hoskins is likely. I can't get into it too much, but I'll just say from multiple sources, I've heard that no one will be sad if he is not there. I just think he's kind of hard to get along with. Release Hoskins, send down Fry. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem. Fry gives you a nice depth piece no matter what. No reason to cut a guy unless you have to. He played outfield almost entirely last year. He was their primary center fielder last year. He played more games in center field than anyone else on this team. I mean, it could be great. Bat speed is certainly one of those things that points out and shows people. It shows a ceiling, right? But at the same time, if you looked at last year and you knocked the qualifier down to like 10 at bats, in the top 10 for bat speed were also John Kensey Noel and Jonathan Rodriguez. So it's not everything, but at the same time, when you look at the best hitters in baseball, most of them have elite bat speed. So if you want to be great, it's almost a requirement, but it doesn't guarantee you things, but it does tend to give you a better opportunity. They have gotten better, but Anthony's right. Yeah, they have gotten better. He hasn't played first. He's played more games at DH than first base. He's played 20 games this year at DH and 40 odd at DH, 40 odd at DH, 20 at first base. He's not a first baseman anymore. Justin and I were debating if this would count. We're saying that no, we don't think it'll count in our hearts. Because it's got to be 20 win their time in Cleveland, but maybe he does that next year. But then again, we thought Lane Thomas would do it. And then, his foot fell off or something, right? Guys, I've been talking for 2 hours. I'm going to make name mistakes. It's part of my ADD. There is this, though. If I faced all of them, I would have a 0 batting average. That I am sure of. I'm what's wrong with baseball. Well, why am I what's wrong with baseball? Because I said that, are you a big market fan that doesn't like when someone says that? Or because I'm being condescending? That's fair. Like I said, my own Nathaniel only wants to go by Nathaniel. I get that. That's my son's name. Again, 2 hours in, plus a radio interview in the middle. I'm going to get names wrong from time to time, especially a new player. It's nice that you all have so little patience. I do think it's going to be Fry. How are we now the 3 worst teams in baseball? And will those teams help them win the postseason? I'm confused by your question, Matt Thinker. How are we now the 3 worst teams in baseball? And will those teams... How are now the 3 worst teams in baseball? One of those teams hopefully make the. Is it because the bad teams got worse and we faced them a lot? I mean, I think it will help them. Sorry, Mad Thinker. I'm confused. So when you're looking at that was one of the downsides. Like Gabby Arias was clearly the centerpiece for Clevenger. We can go back and talk about, what other players have done since, but at the time, Gabby was clearly the centerpiece. And he was a guy who was known to have swing and miss. Now, he also completely skipped AA, which made it weird. But his strikeout rate in high A was 25%. His strikeout percentage in AAA was 22% and 24%. Jace and Schubert are pushing 40 when they're older than him. He is a teenager when he is doing that early. Like, he's 22 in AAA. Like, it doesn't even compare. Like, like I said, he skipped AA, went from high A to AAA, and had a 22% K rate at like 21. Both these players were older than him when they were juniors in college last year, and they're striking out 30 or 40% of the time on average. It's not in the same ballpark. It's the same thing when they drafted Justin Lada, and I'm like, hey, 25% K rate. There's no success stories for a guy with the strikeout rate this high, and everyone was like, hey, Aaron Judge. I'm like, it was never that high in his draft year. The only guy with a 25% K rate in their draft year of college who went on to be successful is Ryan Howard. That's it. I went through 25 years of data. That's the only one. Contento's been the better pitcher. It's close, but I would keep, and lefties are more valuable. I would keep him out there and put Ciccone in the pen. Nah, they're keeping Manzardo. Manzardo's going to be here. Oh, he's already been sent to AAA? I got that wrong? See, I'm behind. I'm just going through this. So I'm going to go kind of look. That would be fascinating if that's the case. Just trying to, does anyone have a sourcing on that? Now I'm seeing multiple people say it. So I'm kind of curious. I mean, I'll just go look at Zach Meisel because he's always, there's breaking news. That's the guy to look at. Oh, interesting. Well, that's going to be a terrible defensive first base situation. Not that Manzardo was great, but Lowe has been really bad there. And we just saw Rhys Hoskins have one of the worst defensive plays of the year. Now, I know the good juju is there, and the locker room really loves Hoskins. But boy, that's shocking. I mean, I thought Fry would go down. I don't know. The other side of it is maybe they're going to do a Hoskins Lowe platoon. I don't know. I have no idea how this is going to work, but it certainly feels like Rhys Hoskins might be your first baseman for the time being. But they still have to clear a 40-man spot. So I don't know. That is weird. That is not what I expected. So they still have to cut someone, though. They still need to open a 40-man spot, which has not been stated yet. So that's a surprising one. I mean, I think he's kind of earned his spot as like a fourth outfielder defensive guy, but we'll see. I mean, I don't know. Like, we can afford to keep him. It's not like he costs a lot of money, but it's just he hasn't done much. Maybe that would open up a 40-man spot. So maybe you're right there. Maybe it is going to be Festa out, and which we're not opposed to. That's a logic to that. But it's just weird. First base defense just got really bad. Very confused. Yeah, I think it was a really strong deadline. Fair. It is a bottom five offense, but they've been extra bad with runners in scoring position, if that's fair. Man, could have paid so much more. Spencer Horwitz, by the way, if you didn't follow what he has done, he can't stay healthy, but boy, is he hit well. I mean, he's not. If they were cutting him, they would have announced it. Instead, they're sending him down, so we still got to see who the cut is. I think, it could be Festa. I agree. I agree 100%. I had this exact same thought hanging over. That they did 3 pitchers to Seattle. And if they do that trade, maybe they miss out on Forrest Griffin. So I guess that's my question to you, who are still here, almost 500 of you still. Would you rather have Forrest Griffin and Adele, or would you rather just have Ward? And that's a hard debate for me. I think I would actually have Adele and I guess at Forrest again, didn't I? Instead of Foster. Foster Griffin and Joe Adele, I would rather have than Taylor Ward. That's my ADD mind. Once I get like a wrong name in there, it just sticks. Arthur, as long as you got Low, you should be good. I don't think Parker might be on a little bit of an innings count because he's about ready to pass his all-time high for innings. I don't think anyone else is. But I do think it's Ciccone out. Again, he's an elite defender, dude. Limited ability, best bat speed on the team, and best swing rate and elite defense, and the best infield arm in baseball. Yeah, this is still a surprise. I mean, Manzardo, to the eye test, I felt like he played better, but man, that's interesting that he's the one. He had a great series against Cincinnati, but Bo Naylor hit a home run and then was sent down immediately. It might be Hoskins at first. I don't know. It's going to be bad either way, but like Manzardo's had some high highs and low lows, so that's interesting. Oh, there we go. That makes sense. That makes a lot. He's not coming back this year. We should have called that all along. That was foolish of me. That's the biggest mistake of the day, not the name stuff, because at least, again, like I said, being ADD, names are hard. I get those confused. But Armstrong to 60-day was always the easiest call. I'll be curious to see what other decisions get made. I think if I go, so what he was really good in 21 versus lefties or 22. I'd be very curious to look at just the quality of contact and some of the underlying data. So it's like, yeah. So in 2021, he had a 376 BABIP versus lefties. That's what happened. He was lucky. Like he's not a 370 guy who can carry a 376 BABIP. The next year, he had a 378 BABIP versus lefties. Like those type of numbers, just for those who don't know, it's batting average of ball spin and play. He's not an elite, a hard hit guy. He is not a speed guy. Those numbers can be higher for that. And then the next year he's down to 283, which is more in like kind of his career norm. So he had 2 years of incredible BABIP data, and that's the difference. I don't think so. I think kind of they're stuck where they are. Hey, I'm trying to give you each and all of you your time. I'm behind with the chat. Thank you to everyone for the kind words. Trying our best to make sure that I get to everyone in here. I mean, it was so exciting the way everything happened so quickly. Really? Some people are never happy. Yeah, a little bit as well, but I think that would have been in a bigger trade. Like, I mean, the highest rated prospect they gave up was 18th. I'm down on Cooper Ingle. It's still in my top 10. So, I think he's here. Same reason Alaman's here. I think they didn't, with Cooper, it's positional. With Alaman, it's some other things. But I think they're just not going to give up talent for the sake of giving up talent. It's the same reason, like, hey, just transfer Alaman to the 40 and then why they made the moves they made, right? Because Hoskins is good. This makes more sense now because they didn't have to cut anyone. If they don't have to cut anyone, they're not going to cut anyone. You could send down Fry and Manzardo. Those are the only two guys you could send down. Adele is Fry, Manzardo is low. You can't send down a Hoskins. You can't do that. So they're in a situation where they sent down the two guys that they could send down, the two guys that had options. They sent those two down, and this way they don't have to lose anyone from their 40-man. Because Sean Armstrong isn't coming back this year. He'll be on the 60-man. He'll collect his payments, but we're not seeing him. So they made the deals that didn't cost any extra talent, and that's why they went out and made those. I got to look at the numbers. Like Lowe has only played like 20 games at first base this year, and he was really bad last year as well. I'm still on his 2024 data. It threw me off for a second. So I don't know. I mean, Hoskins, it might be Lowe because Hoskins is actually worse than Lowe. So yeah, it's going to be an adventure at first base. Not paying attention, Foo Fighter. Above league average hitter this year, one of the best hitters in baseball with runners in scoring position. But go ahead and continue to be negative for the sake of being negative. Could also, and I wouldn't be surprised if we started seeing Arias Slade at first as a defensive replacement with the guys they have. Yeah, do this if you haven't. I would appreciate that. Yeah, I think it just came down to you could send down Manzardo, you couldn't send down Hoskins, and the production has been roughly similar at points. I think he's here for the next year or so. I just don't think you get enough back in a trade to make him worth trading. I wouldn't mind this. The idea of having him on the IL, I just don't see anything. I don't think they're going to 60 Capus because then that counts against his service time. So I think you won't see it. That's why he wasn't added to 60, and that's why Armstrong was. So yeah, the whole thing with this is basically going through all of it, and it's mostly Hero Wall. This is you could always option Armstrong because he's not coming back to the 60-day disabled list. That opens up one spot. Trading Dion opened up a second, and then cutting Brito and then trading him opens your third. Those 3 spots, but now you have to open up 3 roster spots. We still haven't seen what's going to happen with the bullpen, right? Like that is still there's someone who's got to get sent down at this point. But they were able to keep all of the players that they had this way. So I'm kind of waiting to see who gets sent down. Just got the email from the Guardians about all of their moves because they still need one more move right now. Am I correct? I don't think we've seen what's happening with the extra pitcher. See, I don't think we're going to see the 6-man rotation because they have so many days off. I think the extra pitcher is going to be an extra reliever. I don't think it's going to be a starter. They have like almost every Monday off in August. I think they're going to do that. He's improved this year. I feel like he has. He's been better than Hoskins and Lowe so far. Justin's off on this because he forgot Will Dion. You don't need another one. Will Dion is one of the Dion for Griffin. Brito for Adele, and then Armstrong for Lowe. He could have been. He's better in the second half. It's been a rough year. He pitched on Wednesday. Or do you think I'll pitch on Wednesday? He last pitched Friday. He could be in line. I could see that. I think he stays with the team for now. I think Petey Alpin is a safe bet to stay. I think they like what he's doing, and then also gives you the ability to flex Kwan to left, which is important. They could, but they don't need to, and they won't. They don't like to do that. I think it's going to be Lowe and Hoskins getting some time there. I think they might be in almost a platoon role, which I know everyone loves to hear. But then I think Arias comes back as a defensive replacement late in the game at that position potentially. But that also makes it hard because then you don't have anyone else who can play on the infield, which is why I'd be curious to see if they might consider, sending down a Martinez and bringing back a Schneemann just because Schneemann can play every position, giving you more of that depth that you might need if you're going to have to go to that defensive replacement role. And this is also true. I mean, I don't disagree with you, Rival Banter. Thank you. I know I've made mistakes, but, thank you for the kind words. One guy can play defense. The other 2 can hit some. It could be worse. So they had 4 undrafted free agents, 23 players through the draft. And then they had 4 guys from the minor leagues, 3 guys from the minor leagues go with actually, they don't have to do anything because of wasn't Will Dion still on the roster? Am I wrong in that? Someone correct me as I scroll down. If Will Dion was still on the roster, then you're just going to move. No, because didn't Dion get sent down before the Sunday game? I can't remember now. But all those draft picks, they cut Tanner Burns today, Arthur. I don't know if you saw that or not. I'm betting you did. You're Arthur. Of course you did. You saw it before I did. But they moved out 3 to 4, 5, moved out about 7 guys today, maybe 6 guys today from the 60 or from the minor league roster, I should say. I've seen a few interviews. It's not that hard to play. Minor league 60-man, which affects Arthur's stuff, but for people who don't know, that doesn't affect who are on the roster. I mean, I talked about it on the show, brought up him as a trade candidate. I think he's a nice one. OPS entering the weekend was over 700. I didn't check a lot. Yeah, I think it was a solid deadline. I mean, if that's the case, then he's also more productive than, a lot of other guys on the roster. It's people who dislike him will look for any reason to dislike him, and no matter what. He's incredibly flawed. I'm not saying this dude should play every day, but there's a lot of interesting tools with him. Yeah. So I'm betting if Arthur is saying this, then yes, it was Will Dion was sent down on Saturday for Yoho, or Sunday for Yoho, which means they still need to make one more move. Which, since they're not going to want to take someone off their 40-man, since they did the Sean Armstrong swap-a-roo, that does lead me to believe it'll probably be Alaman who comes off. There is this, but Santana also, I love Santana to death, but he was terrible.
I'm back for 5 seconds. I got 92.3 in 1 minute.
I've just been going through the comments. I saw that Manzardo got sent down and Armstrong, so then they don't have to cut anyone. They did the thing where they're not going to have to release anyone.
The 40-man set. I was just listening to you a second ago. The 40-man is set, but they do need to make one 26-man move.
Yeah, because it was Dion for Yoho was the Sunday move, right?
Yeah, so they're going to need to make one 26-man move. They're going to make that decision either tonight or tomorrow. They haven't decided who's going to move out of the rotation. They don't know. They don't have their pitching plans finalized. So just came here to say that before I jump on because I saw you talking about that.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get through all the comments before I jump out. They need 10 cuts before today is what Arthur says. I mean, we've just seen outside of his rookie year, Quan is a half-a-year player. So here's Arthur. 10 cuts before today. So they got 4 of them from the Griffin trade, 1 of them from the Joe Adell trade, and then technically Brito, and then the 1 more to the Reds. So that's 7 guys. So they've cut. So they need 3 more cut then if they needed 10 coming into the day. And they got rid of Tanner Burns. So if you're not counting Tanner Burns, he was cut today. So that's 8. So that would mean they need 2 more players to be cut. He should be, as long as he gets there on time.
Yeah, they didn't say for sure, but they're hoping they'll be there tomorrow. But they didn't say for sure just because of travel. So
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, Yoho is a nice get for this team.
And Jeff, Chris Antonetti agreed with you, saying catching depth was a reason that they were able to trade Cozart for Joe Adell. They felt confident in their catching group now and in the future. Interestingly enough, that Cooper Engel survived.
I think they didn't get a trade worthy of trading him. You and I have our ups and downs, but he's still a top 10 talent to us. Of course, Dave, everyday Dave Lindell, boy, does he hate Brito. So Dave's having a mini party right now. Arias is a better athlete. I don't know. We've had the big Arias versus Angel wars in here. Justin has to go do his thing. Angel doesn't play any position well defensive. Well, that's not fair. He's played right and left field pretty solidly this year, but he's never played it at all. And you'd rather have the guy who's played there before. And Arias has hit better than Angel this year. It's so weird. Armstrong is official. Listen, he was a great defender, but he fell apart last year. I love Santana. Santana is one of my favorite players of the last 20 years, but he had 1 good month last year. He had that 1 month, and after that, it was a mess. Oh, okay. So then 2 guys are options, so then that would mean 4 now. 2 optioned, and I was at 2 before. So you can only have so many players on your minor league roster. There's a max number, and after the draft, they've just added 23 more players. So to get those, and they always operate at max, right? They're always at max. They're not. Some teams don't. Some teams cut some corners to save some money. Not the Guardians here. So for those 23 guys who came in, they have to have 23 guys go out. So that's why the August cuts, because you're managing your minor league churn and roster. This is from the last CBA. There's a limit when they cut one of the minor league levels. They set a set number of players you're allowed to have under contract. We'll have to see. There's a world where he is the DH on this team because of some of the bad metrics. So he may not even be in the outfield. So in this particular situation, Alaman is one of the guys who can be sent down. He is, he still has rosters, but, but he's also had some personality conflicts in his time in the minors and the majors. So that's just what it comes down to. Manzardo just had a great week against the Reds, though. That's not, he wasn't sent down because he was struggling. He was sent down because he could be sent down. You can't send down Hoskins. You can't send down anyone else. If you want to keep everyone, which is what their goal right now, right? Like they didn't cut anyone. They managed everything just right. Juan Brito is their only cut. So you send down Manzardo because he has options. It's the only guy you can send down. You can't. Arias is out of options. You could have sent down Halpin, but that would be a really weird fit with this roster without a real backup center fielder. I guess you could have sent down Martinez, but again, kind of a weird fit. But I think it came down to like who has options. Yeah, things are always changing. Trust me. I'm trying my best to stay on top of it. He can. I think it's definitely positioned for him, but he can do it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like heartbroken about it. Manzardo's been inconsistent this year. Right? There's no other way around it. He's been consistently inconsistent. No, they don't like to cut anyone. And listen, Hoskins, I'm kind of done with the Hoskins experiment. I think anyone who listens to the show knows that, has felt my frustration. But great teammate, well loved. Sometimes they don't want to do the vibe. Okay, Logan Schmidt changed his ask. Like, I don't know how that's the Guardians' fault. Like, I've talked with multiple people, and we've all heard the same story. I mean, I got things I'm not allowed to share that are juicy on that one, but like, you should be happy at this point in time, like that didn't come together. I mean, I've been here for almost 3 hours. I'm almost punchy enough to spill, but I'm not going to. But I'll say there was a point where I heard LSU was considering pulling their scholarship from him. But Logan Schmidt changed his ask. That's why they spent their entire bonus on day 2, because they knew they weren't going to get him. So that's why it's 23 and not 24. But in the end, they'll get a second. They lose nothing. They get their second rounder next year. So there we go. They do. Clubhouse is king with this one. I was told that almost didn't happen, that LSU almost didn't want it to happen. That it took some recovery, is what I heard today. I mean, I think everyone's feeling good. They had 2 bats, added 2 pitchers. It's all said and done. It is a better team now than it was when this whole thing started. And how can you not like how the deadline turned out? Maybe we wanted some bigger names. Maybe we wanted some bigger impact. But they paid a minimal price. They navigated the edges. And, Ralphie looks like a potential star. He's got to learn how to hit something other than a fastball. This year, all he can hit in AAA is a fastball. Work with him a bit, but there's some star potential there. Angel now looks like a fantastic prospect. They kept those ones. Kirk Caceres has been really fun. Braylon Doughty, they kept those really strong pieces because in an unfair game with the way it's set up, it's like it's harder to trade your stars when you're a small market team. It's harder because you don't get those opportunities. Like you have to hit on them because you can't buy them. I mean, even if you're a mid-market team, let's be honest, you're not buying at the top of the market. Only the big market teams get the stars, and that's the only good place to shop in free agency. So it's valuable to hold on to those guys. So I think it's a good deadline. I have enough things I've heard from different sources. He is a good kid. Nothing about him as a person at all. Fastball needs completely reworked. People around him could be a lot to deal with, to the point that people wanted nothing to do with him from some orgs. So I think you could say they dodged a bullet. But again, I don't want to say that about the poor kid himself, because the kid, by all accounts, is fine. But, there's a lot going on under there. And he's just well loved. Yeah. No, I think the deadline went great. Yeah, I think that's how you had to navigate, unless you got someone special with multiple years of control. That you had to kind of do it there. Yes, kiddo.
Can I grab something?
You can come grab something real quick. Sorry, I'm stealing a child's bedroom while we're traveling, so she has to come in and get something. Yeah, I think they did a good job of upgrading this roster with 4 pieces and it not really hurting. Yeah, I mean, the giving goal try was short, but there was a try there. Nah. He's had an up and down year, but it's way too early to label him a bust. That's interesting. I mean, it was a fun one. It was a good one. I don't think he's your everyday first baseman. That'd be interesting. I don't know if I'd love that because, again, it's like so. Here's my crazy idea because, again, we're at 2 hours and 45 minutes. I would almost rather put Rocchio at second, Gabby at short, and say, hey, Travis Bazzano, you got a weird side throw. Let's have you try first base for a bit. Now, it would be not a great position for him long term. I don't think that's what you'd want. But losing the arm of our ace at first base feels counterproductive. I do think, I assume we're going to see Hoskins since he's still here playing a lot of first base or low. This year, I mean, last year it was the opposite, so it's the weirdness. The overall, it can't be the overall power rankings. I assume that's just the trade power rankings. We haven't heard anything yet. I don't think so. I think it would make sense if he was up for Angel. I got to be honest, but I don't think it's happening as we've heard. Oh, give it a day. If they lose their next game, the sky will be falling again. That's how this works. That's how it works, unfortunately. So if you look at the Luis Garcia deal, see, I get all names wrong. They got one starting pitcher, kind of a safer guy in the upper minors, and Sedbert, I can't remember who it was from the Yankees, and then 3 relief options. You look at what they got for Forrest Griffin. They got one Josh Hartle, who's a starter, and then they got Will Dion, who's kind of a depth guy. And I do think Vergas was the main guy in that for them. He's an elite arm with nothing else on it. But I think that they decided to go for another, potential back-end starter and then relief pieces. Yeah, I mean, he's always going to be below average. He's been worse than I expected, if I'm honest, but I always thought he was kind of more of a 40, 45 since he got to the minors. I thought he'd be closer to average based on college. I mean, I talked about it in the draft year that I wanted to see him go out and try center field because I thought that would maximize his value, and I thought he had the athleticism to do it. I would love to see him do that this offseason. Especially because, I like Watson. I don't love Watson. I like Churio. I don't love Churio. I don't know if they have another guy who's going to knock him out of center field if he can legitimately play that position. So the knock on JJ Bleday is he wasn't hitting outside of Cincinnati and his numbers had declined. So this is a guy, it's the same thing with Rocchio, right? The league knows you're not pulling fast ones on anyone anymore. So the league could see that a lot of his production was thanks to his park and that he had cooled off. And that's why he's still there. And also the Reds didn't trade anyone. The Reds decided to take a nap today. They had the worst deadline, in my opinion. Well, the reliever, Craig Yoho, is a really fun ad. You can listen to our episodes in depth on him. And then getting Forrest Griffin is going to allow him probably to boot Sate Ciccone to the pen. Production's been inconsistent. Hopefully he can find a little more consistency. He's fascinating because when we acquired him 2 deadlines ago, I was also traveling. I was in this very spot, or 3 deadlines ago, whenever it was. And I was like, okay, so this is he's going to be an on-base 15 to 20 home run guy. And then he hit more than that in his first year and became the opposite. So Manzo's kind of not become what I expected, but I'm wondering if there's things they think they can work on him or see with him. But I think some of this is about navigating the 40-man roster without losing players or talent because they don't like an open spot on their 40-man. That's an anathema to them. They want to keep as much guys as they can. They didn't have to. They are a prospect hugging franchise. Let's be honest. I think you have to be, but I think that they didn't have to, and they had a good deadline. I think Slade's been worse than Joey, and I think Slade has less stuff under the hood that make me think that he can be a strong starter long term. So, there's a chance of it, yes. I just think that you're better off. Lefties are harder to hit, right? We've seen that, and I think that he's got better swing and miss stuff with Cantillo. So I think Slade has been really effective early on. Doesn't get hit hard, does a lot of things that could play up in the pen. So there's a chance, but I would prefer if they didn't. Yep, they optioned him and Fry. Yeah, that's the crazy thing is that they did all of this, and like I said, the highest rated prospect ever they lost today was Juan Brito, who was a former top 10 guy for me, but was in the mid 20s at my midseason re-rack. Man, long time talking. And then the best guy they traded prospect wise was Cozart, who I had in the early 20s. I did have Mitchell in the 20s earlier this year, who they also shipped away, and Hartle was as high as the teens this year. This year I had Hartle and Brito in the teens at points, and I had Mitchell in the 20s, and I had Cozart in the 20s. I don't think I ever got him up to the teens. It's Yoho and whoever they ship in. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like, just go out and let Kate throw. Slade. Let me pull up Slade Cicconi's data real quick. I apologize if you can. Well, I don't apologize. She's doing well. You could probably hear my daughter playing Merry Little Lamb on the piano out there. But I want to talk about Slade Cicconi's times through the batting order, just to kind of give an idea of why I think he's the guy to go to. So we go down to the second half. Where it is. First time through the order, a 3.54 FIP. He has a 7 strikeouts per 9, 1.72 walks per 9, and he's striking out 19% of batters. He's only walking 5%. Very low whip, a 104 whip. Second time through the batting order, he has a 18% strikeout, so it's 1% worse, 7% walk. Both very good. Whip is up to 1.61. He's getting a hit more. His BABIP was high, but his overall FIP is still a 353. It's actually lower because the BABIP is inflated than the 1. And then the third time through the order, his FIP is 9.26. It's 6.27 walk per 9. He has a 14% walk and a 15% strikeout. His home run rate jumps up to 4 per 9. It gets really ugly. So Slade Cicconi cannot go 3 times through the order, and that's why I think naturally you move him in. I'm sure Cantillos aren't great either, and I think a lot of guys aren't great, but I think that Slade just naturally kind of fits in that role. Well, I disagree, but I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't think this is a permanent thing for Manzo. If nothing else, when rosters expand, I think he would be back. Yo-ho! I think he's an outfielder, but it comes down to health. His health still scares me. But it's that. I don't have one. I wish I could give you one. I can't give you one off the cuff. I'd have to really look at like what's left and like the numbers. This might be crazy to everyone out there, but it's like, maybe I shouldn't admit this, but like top of my head, I don't know how many games there are left. Like that's not, I'm such a person who's just day by day by day that I haven't looked at that. So I'd be bad at that. I'm just gonna be honest. AAA is going to be a disaster right now for distributing at bats. I assume first base, DH, left field. Maybe Ralphie gets some more time in the outfield. Maybe he gets some more time at DH. Cooper is essentially back to being a catcher right now, but you also got to get Cody Huff at bats, and I'm sure they want to get Blake Perkins at bats, and it's going to be a nuts situation. And you got Rosario and you got Watson. They've got too many guys in AAA. I don't know if you send someone down. I don't know what's going to happen, but right now there are too many parts and pieces in AAA to get everyone constant at bats. It's in Schneemann, I don't know. It's going to be fascinating to watch because there's a lot of roster depth down there right now. But Ralphie and Manzardo will play because those are priority guys. So I can't take credit for this. Again, Justin had this, and I think he's 100% right. Probably missed it earlier when he was on. Greg Yoho has a fantastic change. And the nice thing of the changeup is it's very good against righties and lefties. And the way his specifically breaks is great against lefties. I think Yoho is going to be a guy that they use in parts against lefties because of the way that changeup works. And let's also be honest. Like Tim Herron and Zabrowski have really struggled, but they're votes guys, so they're going to be here. They're going to get those opportunities. I wanted Bernardino. I'm shocked he didn't get traded. But yeah, I don't think Gentilo's moving into that role. I don't know. Like I said, I got to see who's hot then. I'm not going to assign a playoff rotation. I don't know how Messic's going to be because he's never thrown that many innings. He's about ready to go for his all-time high. I don't know if Gavin's going to stay as hot as he is right now. If Gavin's pitching like he is now, then he's your one. But if he pulls back a little like he was pitching earlier, then I don't know. But isn't it a fun problem to have? It is a really fun problem to have. And yeah, however you want to look at it, we got to see how Parker does, with the higher innings. Got to see if Gavin's going to be, it's 5 great starts. Before that was some weaker starts. Tanner's had some ups and downs as well, but I think Tanner might lead Major League Baseball in quality starts, or he's second, really underrated. And then Griffin was an all-star, and he's a lefty, and lefties can be tough. So it also matters who you're facing too in that matchup. If you're facing the Guardians, you're going to throw both lefties. That's part of it. I don't know what those are going to look like, dude. Share them with me when you do it, Arthur. I am absolutely that Columbus column for depth chart is going to be unbelievable right now. I don't know how Fry plays every day in Columbus. I mean, just have him go back and play some third base. He played some third base when he was in the minors, when he was a third base catcher more, but you don't have the ability to get him reps at catcher or first base, and you don't have the ability to get him reps in that outfield. So either he's going to be on the bench a lot, or he's going to have to go back to playing some third base. I don't know what you do with him. He's kind of in no man's land. So I'm not sure what the David Fry answer is. So I'm going to say this: we're so close. I'm gonna have to say 3 hours because that's unbelievable amount of coverage. But then I think at that point I will call it a day. Wow, it's almost 8:00, so I got to probably stop helping with bedtime anyways here, and doing dinner because I haven't eaten because this deadline happened. Instead, I was with you all here for the last 3 hours. So get your last few questions in. Thank you to everyone for all the kind words. I appreciate that. For the most part, everyone's been kind. I'm sorry if I got a little salty. I apologize to anyone. That's not really typically my approach, to be a little more annoyed with people, but long day. We'll all have those, right? We're not always at our best. I think Uniker is the 4th best prospect in the system. I think he has a lot of great tools. He doesn't hit the ball hard right now. He's smaller, and that's part of it. I think he could be, a really fun starting outfielder. I think he's getting a little overhyped right now from some places. He's not hitting a lot of great off-speed stuff. There's some other things. He's a developmental player. He's a young kid. I don't see any world where he is rated better than Ralphie and Hanau doing what they're doing in AAA. I don't understand that on any level. It's not like it's not like if he had everything at the lead end, if he was sitting there, maximum exit velocities, plus exit velocities, plus hard hit, then yeah, we can have that discussion. But when he's it's just contact and eye, we got to see. 4th rated player, fantastic prospect, one of the big 4 for me. Put Watson. No, Watson's an outfielder now. He's an outfielder all the way. I just don't think they will because they don't like to give up anyone unless they have to. This team holds on tight. They don't like to let guys go unless they have to. I mean, it would be probably best for Fry, honestly, at this point. He's so far buried that him to get a chance to catch on with another org, but I don't think they're going to do it. Thank you to everyone else. Yeah, it's kind of funny that Cody Hewer got moved. I didn't expect that they got Orioles need a little cash. I think essentially they added him for depth, and they went out and made, but they got Sensinella and they got Jojo Romero, and they just didn't have depth. So I think they had to flip Hewer because all of a sudden their 40-man was already in a negative situation. So rather than just cut him, they found the Orioles to send them a little bit of money. So that's why I think Cody Hewer got flipped. Is the deadline can surprise you, and they were able to get some players. I mean, thank you to everyone. I appreciate all these kind of words here at the end. 2 minutes to go. I mean, that's always going to be the question in the room, right? The elephant in the room. The only small market team to win is the Royals. It's a broken system. It's the hardest part about this game. I mean, from a personal standpoint, I've had so many people over the years who have stopped following baseball because it's like I can't like anyone because they'll leave. Until Jose signed his extension, I refused to buy Cleveland Guardians merchandise without a name on the back because the nature of the game is, unless you're a big market, and even then, like Boston decided not to play Mookie Betts. Guys can leave big market teams, so it is rare. Dodgers let Corey Seager go, but it's the nature of the beast is that this game is built for the big markets, and they like it when the big markets win because it's a bigger amount of people, paying attention. It leads to higher ratings, and it's a regional sport. And I don't mean that as a negative, but when the NFL is on, you'll watch whatever football game is on. But when Friday Night Baseball or Fox's Saturday Night Baseball is on, like how many people actually tune in? The numbers just aren't there. And it's unfortunately part of the nature of this ugly beast. I mean, anything can happen. I'm never going to pick them to win it, unfortunately. I think that it needs to happen, and I think most of fans are behind them. At this point, we're also used to it, right? Like every sport does it. I don't want to say it's hopeless. Weird things happen in the postseason. The team that had no business making the World Series was the team for Cleveland that nearly won it against the Cubs. Like after all those pitching injuries, they had no business getting as deep as they did. They probably should have gotten knocked off by Toronto on paper, and they made it, so you never know. But, so I'm just going to enjoy the ride. I mean, until they traded, I'm going to get myself in trouble. Before they traded for Watson, I was a diehard Browns fan. That I stopped following them then. But I would pay for the preseason package to watch Browns games when I lived in New York City. I would buy the preseason package. That's how much of a sicko I was. And, being a fan of that organization for as long as they did, it's like just sniffing the playoffs was special. Like the playoffs are different. Like I am a casual Cavs fan. I watch all the playoff games. Playoffs are different. Playoffs are fun. And I'm going to enjoy that ride of the postseason no matter what. As a fan of those teams, because I think that's something you can enjoy, even if the odds of you winning are low, because the deck is stacked against you. And hopefully no one's taking this as me being extremely negative. I don't mean it that way. There's always a chance, cue the Dumb and Dumber clip. But yeah, it's rough right now. It's a good question. And that's the thing, too. It's not just that. It's the fact that the Dodgers can sign Blake Snell and trade for Tyler Glass now because it doesn't matter if they get hurt because they can fill that depth in with trading for a Scooble. They can go out and do all of that. That's kind of the situation. They can fill their gaps. Kyle Tucker hasn't performed up to his contract. Doesn't hurt him. So last question. I got to go. I hear my son melting down in the background. Not great the last 3 years. Great in 2023 and 2022 when he was in his late 20s. Since he's moved to his 30s, it's not good. So I don't know about that. They got Bubik too, and he may not even be a starter. They'll probably fix him. Yeah, it's not good. It used to be great. It's really funny how much that changed. And yeah, I agree. It's a better team. But I can hear my Nathaniel out there screaming. So I better go take care of that. Thank you all for joining us. Remember to rate, review, hit the thumbs up. I appreciate you all joining us for a extra long edition. And as we always say, go Guardians, go.